All right. Hello. Welcome everyone back to the HEX Happy Hour show. Still waiting for YouTube
What's
to
up,
pick
everybody?
up. As we've had issues with it. There we go. I think we're on now. And welcome, Crypto Vince.
Hey.
How you doing today? Big Kurk?
Doing all right.
Howdy.
In the audio sphere, we have Motley Investor.
What's up, guys?
And he will be joining us in visual form soon. And
driving back from work.
And special guest, Gunter The Accountant.
What's up, everybody?
Excited to have you, man. So,
Thanks, man.
Welcome. Is this your first stream?
No, not the first one.
Yeah. Whatever Hex ones have you been, or just
You've
other
been on with
streams?
the Aussies, right?
He was on with the Aussies.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, when was that?
Cabana wanted that title.
I want all the titles, man. I'm on it. Yeah.
That's right. I think maybe a week ago or so.
Okay, cool.
I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a really.
It was like 2 weeks ago or something.
Oh, 2 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah,
Lose
they
track
had,
of
Live
time.
in Hex Land.
Yeah.
yeah, they had a really good one. I think it was like last Saturday night, maybe. I think Blue Bum hosted it. It was just like a casual chat, but it was really cool. They talked about tons of stuff, pulse related and whatnot. But and we will do that as well. We have a ton to talk about. Let's go through chat and see who is here. Goodness gracious. I mean, David Morales, Tree of Hex, Hexander, doing that DDPY, brother. Waiting for another all-time high. I don't know, man. I mean, we're coming back, and the $250 million seller bro is pretty much done. So we could possibly see it by the end of the stream. You never know. Never know.
Does he have anything left? You want to check the address before we went live?
The last I saw, he had maybe 2 million, but I read somewhere, I think T-Don might have posted it in Telegram or someone, that he may have a few million or tens of millions in liquidity.
Okay.
But that's all that we can see, really. And I mean, he's done, man. That's and the thing is, we've been going up as he's been selling.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Whale
insane.
games.
Insane.
So, whales eating whales.
Yes,
There's always a bigger fish out there.
Yep.
And always a bigger Qui-Gon Jinn, Star Wars fan. But yeah, so it actually makes for the perfect week to have Gunter on, because as we, I guess, had our funny breaking news segment a couple weeks ago, came up with this awesome spreadsheet. How many addresses was it, Gunter? Like 3,000 more? How many?
A very large number. We'll just call it.
A lot of time spent in that spreadsheet.
Yeah. And how much time?
Too much time, man.
Yeah.
My life is wasting away with that spreadsheet.
It's beautiful, man.
Well, I appreciate all your hard work. I know lots of others do too.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
man.
thanks.
I mean, we all do here, and the community does as well, I know. And I guess for something like this, and we're gonna bring it up and let you drive here for in a bit, but just talking about it, I guess the first question is like, how'd you get into it, and like what inspired you? Or have you always been like a numbers dude, a researcher guy, or it was just like, okay, well, I'm invested in this thing now, and I really want to dig into it, and that was kind of your motivation?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have a background in mathematics. I never finished my degree, but I have a background in mathematics from Ohio State University. Also, like, took a few accounting courses, so like naturally it's a good fit for like Excel. And I guess like over the last like 4 months, you just see like constant dumping, and so like I started to get like sort of like frustrated, and we're just wondering like, what do we actually have out there? Like,
Right.
I know because the supply is so much, right? You're talking about like 569 billion tokens. Like, how long are we going to go through this period of just constant dumping? And that's really what motivated the research.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad somebody did it, because like I've been asking this on this stream for a while.
Was it going to be me?
wouldn't it be awesome if and you did it, man? So
Oh yeah, nice.
it was yeah, and I think it's even more interesting now, and especially today and the past couple days, seeing the supply slosh around. So if I'm just trying to remember, was it 4.4 billion liquid in the ballpark, something like that, maybe?
Let me take a peek.
Yeah,
I was about to say let's bring it up so we can.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll just
Bring it up, but at the same time, if you take, I don't know, multiples times 250 million, which has been sold back in. I think we started with like 18 of those 250 million blocks. Now we're already down to 17 if you want to count it like that. So it's, man, supply is, as long as that's going into good hands, which I think, whales are trading around. That could be the case here. All right. You good to show it there?
Yeah,
you
well,
guys
it's going in.
okay?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, I think
Sweet.
that was a good enough lead in. I mean, you know what you're looking at here. I think we showed. I think it was like the fuchsia or whatever color it was, but I think these numbers might be the same. Magenta. Yes.
Yeah.
With that background, where is Gunter? Gunter is right here, man. He's right above you. So all right.
Nice.
All right, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, take it away. Go ahead and drive. And I mean, I'm sure the community will have questions, and I'll put them up here as they come in. I mean, if we have questions and the panel here, let's get into it, man, because this is exciting stuff.
Yeah, just stop me. I mean, I'll just kind of give you a brief overview, and then you just ask whatever questions you have.
Okay.
I did recently create this definition of terms page. So I'm clearly defining what everything is. So for example, if you're talking about let's see. Like obviously the origin address for new people that might not know, it's basically the controlling entity or entities of HEX, right? And then I just define everything. So if you have any questions throughout the page, you can always come back here and just go through this sheet for an explanation. Maybe I'll start. Do you want me to start with the OA page first? Just to kind of.
I mean, the way we like to do it here is leave them hanging for just a little end taste. So whatever your coolest thing is, save it for the end. But yeah, man, go wherever you want.
Yeah. Okay. So I first I didn't start from scratch, right? So previously, DOSBomb did a spreadsheet, and he basically recorded all the addresses that the origin address ever sent money to, and these are all the ones listed here, the transfer to addresses. So what I did was I sort of just clicked on each one, grabbed the balance in each one of those, and then eventually I got some help from another guy in the HEX community called Crispy Man, and he helped me write a script where you can basically update the balance.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs like a program and basically fetches all the available balance for each address. And then what I set up here in this column, this compare balances, I basically just asked the question, is the available balance in column D, is it greater than or equal to this column? And then I can monitor on a regular basis to see if there's any change or any activity in these addresses. But yeah, so out of all these, go ahead. You have a question?
No, that's cool.
Oh, okay.
I like the script. That's great.
Yeah. So there's 11 addresses out of all these addresses that state fat stacks.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them here. And this totals up to be about 8 billion HEX, by the way. And they're staked for a long period of time. So if anyone asks you, does the OA stake? Well, yeah.
And might these be the big pillars that we see a year apart? Just curious if you might know that.
What do you mean?
On the unstaking graph, the
in the HEX, we can pull it up later, but in the hex.vision graph, if you zoom out, about every year there's a huge stake, and I think that's been tied back to the OA. So that could very well be what these are. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I gotcha. Yeah, I never made that connection, so I'll have to look into that. But yeah, you could go through these addresses and check them for yourself. That's the whole point, is to be transparent.
Mhm.
And that's why I made this publicly available so that anyone could verify the information. You know what I mean? But so far, you don't see any activity in these addresses, and the only activity you actually see is the origin address itself. This is actually growing. I don't think people realize that it's growing slowly. I'm not sure why though. I still have to look into that, but every day it grows by a little bit.
Well, the origin still gets half of all penalties.
All the penalties, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, but then
they will accumulate, like in the system. They'll continue to, like, they'll always gain more.
Okay.
I mean, they'll gain about. I mean, I wouldn't say more because it's only the penalties. You know, they're not gaining more interest than everyone else because they're only staking like 11% of the total stakes or something total.
Okay.
But they do gain more HEX through unstakes.
Okay, that's what
emergency unstakes.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if the OA got the 50% penalty, like if that was tied to its states, or if that was actually just picked up right away. Like
they'll just be picked up right, yeah. Whenever somebody emergency unstakes,
yeah, it's got to be liquid. Yep.
So that makes sense. If you click
it's the ones that are bleeding out that aren't distributed right away unless good accounting's run or the owner actually mints the coins.
Yes,
those are the ones that stay dormant.
Okay, I gotcha. Anyway, let me get out of this screen. All right, so yeah, so then anyway, as you scroll down, you can see there's quite a number of addresses. Most of these are all just liquid, though. No activity. They're just fat stacks of liquid tokens, and you can see these are large amounts.
Mm-hmm.
Very large amounts. So anyway, this was just me building off of Das Bomb's work. But then I took it a step further, and I went to hex.vision, and I started. I thought, well, it'd be interesting to look at all the addresses that entered the adoption amplifier, and I started with a lot of ETH basically, and I started with 5,000 ETH, which was the most amount, and I worked my way all the way down. I even went past 20, but once you get past 20 ETH, you don't really find any addresses with large. You don't find any addresses that match the behavior of the OA.
Okay.
I actually do define what that behavior is on this page.
So you have a profile?
Yeah, like a criteria. Like I was looking, if you look under adoption amplifier addresses, I was looking for where with the address, the user like entered and exited the lobby with a minimum of 20 ETH. Then they staked for like a few days right before big payday for a short span of time.
Oh,
and then they minted HEX by ending the stake just a few days like after big payday. They hold large quantity of HEX tokens, liquid in a dormant address, and basically zero activity after big payday once the tokens are minted. So there's no transferring of tokens. There's no selling of tokens. There's no buying tokens, nothing. No activity after that point.
That sounds like our benevolent OA.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, Gunther, real quick, what's the total amount of HEX that, though? I can't see it because I'm on my phone right now, but what's the total amount of HEX the OA has according to your spreadsheet right now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm curious.
So we could scroll down. Let's see.
Thousands of addresses.
Because my friend was messing around with some numbers. I want to see how much HEX it has right now.
Yeah, so the liquid HEX that it has is 544 billion, 325 million, 537,257.
And that's just the liquid?
That's correct.
And then it's got 8 billion staked?
Yep, another 8 billion staked.
552.
So my buddy hit me up today, and we were talking about the OA. When HEX gets to its like essentially its 10,000 mark at 2.5 years, what Richard kind of designed it to do so, the OA is going to be the first $1 trillion entity. It's gonna own over $1 trillion of value. That's gonna be absolutely insane. It essentially becomes the most valuable thing on planet Earth.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so nuts, and that's just where we're going to be within the next couple years. Like, who knows where we're going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Like, it's absolutely mind-boggling how much economic mass the OA actually has. It truly is running De Beers at a much larger scale.
Yeah, that's a solid point. I mean, look, you could see the US dollar value. Well, if you take the liquid plus the staked for the OA, you're looking at about $16 billion. So just think, if it goes up 100x, now you're talking about $1.6 trillion.
Yep.
Did I do that math right? I think it's something like that.
Yep.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Insane.
Jesus. Jesus.
So yeah, so this is the OA audit. Yeah. You let me know if there's any mistakes, if you find any errors. Then I have another page.
Okay, and you said this was available, right?
Yeah.
We had Bitfinesse in chat, saying he was taking screenshots. You don't have to do that, Bitfinesse.
Yeah. Yeah. I posted it several times, but just reach out to me and I'll send you the actual.
Bitfinesse. I can just see him now, just screenshotting everything frantically. Meanwhile, Gunter's made this public everywhere.
I don't I've shared it probably at least 100 times. But yeah, it's all good. So anyway, I got another tab here that's called liabilities, and so let's see. Do I want to go here first, or let me go to the supply summary first. It's just more logical. So I started building a summary of everything based on the information that I have, right? So obviously we know you could get from hex.vision, you could get the circulating hex and you could get the total hex. And so then you can figure out, and also the staked hex, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right in this column, I have the US dollar value. I've got the percentage, of each one. And then you could start to piece things together. We know what the total staked hex is, and we know how much the OA has based on those 11 addresses. So now you can calculate how many stakes the users have. Roughly 54 billion tokens staked by the user. So you could.
My head. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So you can see that the user is actually dominating in this area, but where the OA dominates is in the liquid section, right? Yep. Look at how much liquid the OA has. 95.38%. I mean, that's a crazy number.
Awesome.
Updated, yeah. So about 95%, and then the other 4.6% is user circulating hex. And then, of course, you have total liquid hex.
Wow.
And it's people from the outside, non-hexagons, that's just oh my gosh, it's controlled by, it could just dump at any moment, and that's the end of it. And it's this is what makes this so powerful, in my opinion. It's just okay, why would an entity such as this wreck the entire product? This is the strength of the product. It's not the weakness, it's the absolute strength. This is wild.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you got to think logically too. Why would the inventor of hex, where hex is his golden child, his creation, why would he harm that product that he's created, that he wants to succeed? Mm-hmm. And he also has the capital where he doesn't need to sell for operational costs like these other companies do, right? Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to pay for employees. He doesn't need to pay for a facility. He doesn't need to pay for equipment or any of that nonsense. He doesn't need to cash out for himself because he's already very, very wealthy. And obviously we could just state from the get-go, it doesn't really matter who the controlling entity is. It could be one person, it could be multiple people, it could be a hedge fund, it could be all kinds of things. It doesn't really matter. We really only care Do they protect the price? Do they hold the coins without dumping them on our heads, basically? But yeah. So if you notice, if you think about market cap for a second, if you ignore the origin address and just think about the circulating hex without the OA, we're really only at about $780 million, which is nothing for crypto.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm in the minority, but I like it like that. Like, I like being under the radar. I don't like this market cap race vanity game to where it's like, oh, well, you know, you're only taken seriously in the top 10 or whatever it is, or top 5, and the market cap's not all that. I prefer being under the radar because, you know what? I'll get paid interest to not be in the top 10 or top 5. Like, if all Hexkins are making money, who cares where you're listed at in market cap? And, you know, one day it'll just sneak up on you, and, or not us, but, you know, the rest of crypto, and be like, oh crap, you know, Hex is legit. And, you know, I can pass on the scrutiny just personally right now. I'm not into it, and I'm cool if we hang out, you know, 10, 20, you know, 25. The gatekeeping is a little, you know, but with, you know, some general accounting, or good accounting, things like that, that can work severely in our favor. And, you know, while we build up here, let's bring back Molly. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, after the price does a 10x, like, we're already like in the top 3. Like, so
yeah.
So it's going to become a moot point in just a very short period of time. So yeah. But
I think Dollar Cost Crypto, I think in one of his streams, said the same thing, which I'm also in agreement with him. So I don't think I'm the only person who thinks this way. Yeah, it's cool, man. I want to be, you know, first page is kind of, or top 10 is marketing. It's free marketing. Be like, oh, what's this new coin? Top 10. But at the same time, you know, we're doing fine as it is. Blue Bum, just want to say hey to Blue Bum. Had a cool stream last weekend. Already shouted you out, buddy. So thanks, brother. Good morning. Good evening.
We don't really have a good name for Pulsians.
For pulse holders.
Pulsars.
Pulsidens.
Pulsidens. I like
I kind of like Pulsidens. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Pulsidens. That's pretty good.
It's probably the best, but I mean, the competition isn't that good to begin with. So.
And it's not as easy to spell as probably some others. So.
Right. Like Richard said, it's just not quite as good branding as Hex is.
Yeah. But anyway, tangents. Sorry, Gunter, go ahead.
No, not just the tangents, man. I took calculus 1, 2, and 3, so I understand tangents very well.
Oh my god! Hey, Matt joke.
Joke off.
Do you need us to explain it to you?
We'll save the joke off for the end of the show.
Oh my god!
Oops, our numbers are probably dropping rapidly. I gotta stay avoid.
Actually, they're hitting their highs right now. Keep going. So.
I love this stuff.
Nice. So yeah, this next section is it covers like T-shares. Like the OA from those 11 addresses has like 2 million T-shares, and then obviously we know like total T-shares from like go.hex.com. So then you can calculate user T-shares and kind of see a percentage, and clearly you could see that the user is actually dominating with respect to T-shares, and this is another important point for those that are new. It's very important that the origin address or the controlling entity of Hex keeps most of the tokens liquid so that we can maximize as a user the amount of daily interest that we get. Because if the origin address just stakes everything, then I guarantee you our Hex payout per day is going to drop to 1 or less. And we saw this at Big Payday. We saw it drop to 1. So would you rather have 1 hex per T-share, or would you rather have 6 hex per T-share, or 5.7, whatever it is? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think that, I mean, I will say that I do think that, you know, we're in a time in crypto where yields are high everywhere, unrealistically high everywhere. So the origin address doing what they're doing right now currently is most definitely at an advantage for all of us, the product included. But I could see a time and place in the future where the origin address stakes some more You know, you'd imagine Hex does another 100 or 1,000x, you know, from here. The payouts in USD value would be, it's pretty insane. You could imagine that there might be some slowdown on, like, you know, or might be some more staking by the origin address. I'm not like saying
it's like a throttle. It's like a throttle, right? Like it's going to throttle back because, like you said, it could just get absolutely stupid. So it could use it as a throttle back mechanism. And at the same time, like the price of Hex, like you said, is going to be stupid. Like you're looking at 50 to 100x from where it is today. Whereas you're not necessarily, if the yield is less, that probably means price appreciation is going to be greater. So you're not going to be boohooing that you're only getting 25% when Hex is 100x from here by any stretch of the imagination.
Exactly. And most of those other platforms right now that you're seeing, these 100,000, 10,000 APY friggin' platforms of gains, you know, are not sustainable. I mean, even the CFI platforms like BlockFi and all the rest that are out there that have these insane returns or had these insane returns are now start. Yeah, they're basically buyback. They're just you know, early onboarders or onboarding programs, and they're not going to last for. You know, they're hoping they hit their numbers, you know, but they're not going to last, you know, and you already see that. You already see several of them, you know, the funding rates cut dramatically. So, like, I mean, again, I think that it's great for us to have a product that can compete in the space and offer such high return rate of, you know, yield. But you know, it's so good in and of itself that I think that people will still buy it when it only pays out 10% or 15% APY.
Yeah, we're talking, Freddie, towards the end of the year when we're looking at 50 to 100x. Probably the rest of the market's dying. Hex is probably going to be the only damn green candle out there. You don't really even need that high of a APY because the whole point is to draw people in, right? Like you don't need the 40% APY when Hex is still 100x up and the rest of the market's dying, and on top of that you happen to get an additional 25% APY. Like you don't need everything. So it's a way for him to continue to make Hex scarce. It wants to make sure it owns a percentage of the coins to continue that supply control that makes Hex so valuable.
Yep
100%. Yeah, so then this go ahead.
No, I was just saying, it's a thing of beauty, man. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, think about anywhere in the world, like even the longest certificate of deposit globally, if you do like a 5-year certificate of deposit, the maximum that you could possibly get is like 2%, or like a 30-year treasury bond. You know, you get like what, 2%, 3%? It's like lol.
Yeah,
you get 13% APY for staking for 1 day in Hex.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But this next section is about like just like OA ownership, right? So a lot of people actually like they're I guess based on the math that they previously did without having like I guess quantifiable data to substantiate their claims, they thought that the origin address actually controlled 85% of the network, and it turns out they were pretty accurate. You know, you're talking about 87%. And then the rest is user ownership right here.
Yeah, I love your numbers, because I was like, on my rough numbers I was like, I bet like after I was saying 87. I was like 85 to 87%. So when it came out 87, I was like,
did you say 87?
Yes.
I don't know. Let's go back. Let's go back to the tape. I think you just threw that in there right now. Go back to the tape. I definitely said 85 though. But I mean 2%.
Find it.
Plus or minus, that's pretty damn good. And the more
I mean, like, and I think that number over time, if I understand the system as I think I do, like, it will take a few years for it to happen, but like that number should be over 90% eventually.
Well, yeah, because the origin address is getting fatter, and it also you know what I mean? Like,
yep. And like, imagine when Hex is, if Hex is at $1, like we've talked about this. This is some shit that we speculated on way early on. That like when Hex hits very high levels, and now we see the very true possibility of it doing that. The people that have made long stakes, 10, 15-year stakes. Some of them, I've already seen some people on Twitter that are like, I'm cashing that shit out. I don't give a fuck. I'll donate for, you know, and that shit's the emergency, you know, you know, like you see people that will gladly pay fat stack in 5 years. They'll be paying fat stacks in interest to just get their principal back, and they'll happily do it.
And it's gonna go from Gunter seeing like the OA just slowly growing, right, from those emergency end stakes to like it's going to substantially grow.
Snowballing.
Once you have 5, 7, 10-year stakes that are emergency end staking, just like with the sacrifice phase, like we're already starting to see it, right? Some nukes, emergency end stakes. And yes, they've accrued some interest, but nothing crazy. Wait until you get to these stakes that have been accruing anywhere between like 25 and 40% for the past like 5 or 6 years, and you start getting to those stakes. Oh my God, yeah, the OA is just gonna be raking that in. All the old OG stakes are gonna be raking those in. Like it's gonna be a lot of money when someone in stakes in the future.
You mentioned sacrificing too. Like that's everyone that's gonna sacrifice their HEX, like there's some that may sacrifice as much. You don't know how much they're going to sacrifice. 25 million HEX? Is it going to be 1 million HEX? Is it going to be like 50 million HEX? Like some like large wallets, they might be willing to sacrifice fat stacks, and the OA is just going to get larger and larger from that, because obviously the money is going to addresses, and the addresses are going essentially to the controlling entity.
I'll be curious to see what percentage the OA owns by the end of it. So I'm awaiting that update happily at the end of the sacrifice phase. So
that's the next. That's because like I'm not saying that they're the same projects and everything's different, and I'm sure we're going to be whoever's sending HEX to the sacrifice will be sending it to a different address than origin address accounts. But I have a feeling. No promises that if that address is getting lots of other shit coins and HEX, that of all the coins it gets, if it was going to sell any of those tokens, HEX is probably going to be the last one it sells. So like you might as well just consider that a new origin address.
It's been a hope of mine that the OA will actually sell all those coins and then pump the HEX price after it.
That would be great.
Okay, Big K. Let's go ahead and get your estimations on how much the OA is going to own now, so we can get it recorded. So here we go. 2% on to be absolutely correct. Let's go ahead and get your prediction by the end of the sacrifice phase. How much?
By the end of the sacrifice phase?
Yes,
well, that's an easy one to. That's
it's
a
an easy one. All right, pick it.
No. Okay. It's tough. All right. But like, here's something to think about. There's about 200 million. There's about 200 million HEX available on the liquidity pools for between Uniswap v2 and v3 and whatever right now. About between ETH and USDC. So like. People can't buy unless you're willing to, depending on how high you want to jack the price up.
Your number is what?
I mean, it really depends on how many people are going to stuff that liquid HEX in there that they have in there, because they can't buy it up. There's not enough to buy. There's only 200 million out there to buy up, unless some more big sellers come in with another 200 million, quarter billion sell like we just saw. Then who's got the HEX to set, and who's going to be sacrificing that? The HEX, I'll say a lot of things, but I also say,
but the answer. You'll say a lot of things, but the answer. give us your guess, bro. Come on. Or do you want me to give you more time to run the calculations?
Oh boy.
Come on,
I don't know how to be put on the spot, but I could see.
I'm about to price right you.
I'd say more than.
Oh no, not more or less than. Give me your number.
Like what percentage wise? What the percentage is going to be?
We're at 87. Where do you think we are?
It's tough because I don't know how much hexagons are willing to get rid of of their own HEX. So less than 3%. I would say 90. It won't be over 90%. Maybe.
Give me a number. Maybe. Give me a number, and it ends in percent, not less or greater than, equals to. God damn it! Look at you,
I keep wanting to say 91%. I keep wanting to say 91%. I keep wanting to say it. So 3% of what's available out there of the total supply could go into the origin address's hands. I mean, we had 3% of Bitcoin holders fucking cryptographically fucking claim their Bitcoin. So I mean,
you want to say 90% or not?
I do want to say 90%. That's what I'm saying is I want to say 90%, but I keep leaning even further to 91.
No.
I keep leaning a little further to 91.
I would say 89 to 90%.
Yeah. I mean, I hate saying 91 because I'm going to Bob Barker myself and be over.
Yeah, I'll do 90. You can have 91, and we'll come back to this. So Hex Clips can grab it, and then we can document it.
Yeah,
91.5. Yeah, lights out stole my idea. There.
90%.
91.1, sir.
What about you? What about you, Gunther? You actually probably have better information than anyone else. How much do you think the OA will own by the end of it? How much will actually go in the sacrifice chamber?
Well, I don't want to answer that, but I'm gonna just throw in a little plot twist here.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
So I think all the addresses listed on this page will be empty. I think the OA will sacrifice everything.
Hey now.
Whoa.
Here's something that I have been thinking about.
This is the OA? Wait. Hold on, BK. What are you showing? Whose addresses are these?
They're the sub addresses that.
Yeah, the sub addresses.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's something I was been thinking about a lot. Is that like, here's my big question, man. Here's my big question: is that like Richard doesn't like to? He agrees in economic centralization, so he's going hard in the paint, I imagine. Or the entities that believe in Pulse that, are going hard in the paint. So like, because how else do you get Pulse?
You guys ready? You guys ready for that freaking recycling narrative?
Oh boy,
the FUD gonna come back.
And
Round 2
makes a good point, right? Like, why not sacrifice it? It's gonna get it anyways. And man, I'm not ready for the recycling FUD. I'm really not.
Yeah.
This is smart play though for OA because
I'm ready for it all, man. I'm ready for everything to come at us, man.
Let's be honest. I'm not. I'm tired of the scam.
I landed on the beach in Normandy and got off and got right back on the fucking beach. I don't give a shit. I love it here. It looks beautiful on this beach. Let's go.
So that's the thing though, right? Because the OA has to be a large player in the Pulse ecosystem as well. I would think anyways, because knowing Richard, we obviously know he likes this whole De Beers concept. He likes to control his own ecosystem. So the OA's got it, in my eyes, has like Gunther was saying, has to make a play at this Pulse token because it wants to be a large player in the system, I would imagine. Because I think it would be absolutely madness if anyone thinks that the OA, which may or may not be Richard, would give up a majority of the validator positions. I think the OA would like to have at least 51% of the validators. Essentially, what, 17 out of the
I'm gonna say
out of the 16 validator position, or six. Wait, what am I doing? 17 out of 16? Yeah.
Now I will say that I think that it would be even if that is the case, I still think that it would be good for him to get aboard some other node validators that do this for that are enterprise level node validators that are interested in. So I know of a few that are
for sure.
that look for projects that are up and coming, and they run, that's what they do, they run server farms for node and run nodes, and they're very competent at it, and they would bring not only some cross community interaction, exactly, but also some fucking legitimacy to the decentralized nature of it, so
I find a very hard time seeing Richard relinquishing control to enough validators to essentially position him out of his own system. I don't think that but based by the delegation situation, right?
Like you don't necessarily even have, like, Richard doesn't even necessarily have to hire one node operator ever, period. Like they could all be people that just are willing to do it because they're going to get paid, and people delegate their stakes to those people because they're the most efficient at running the nodes. That's a possibility. Like I said, I mean, it would be it'd be easier for for him overall that way. And I think it would be better for the project, even if, because like now, how much, like I don't know if all those addresses, Gunter, would dump their hex, because I wonder if there's a difference between origin addresses on that list. You see, because you made a separation when you started to, like, when you went from 50% to the full 87%. What I always considered them is two different entities, in the sense that there's one entity called the origin address that on paper will only ever get 50% of the supply. That's just like, it just can't ever have more than that by math. But then there's this other entity that I refer to as the benevolent whales. You know, that's what I've always called them. That have, since the adoption amplifier, they'd come in and match the price from whatever Uniswap was. Now, there's no way on chain analysis to like tie the benevolent whales, besides their actions, like you're doing, like an actual chain analysis. Though you can't put those two entities together. You know, and some people will say, oh, the ETH went to an exchange and then maybe went out to an. You can say lots of shit, but like that. But like they're two different entities. So like I think that it would be fine for the narrative's sake if the benevolent whale addresses that you still can't really tie to Richard or anybody. It could be any group of VCs or any group of hedge funds that wanted to get into this kind of thing that were making those moves. You know, that's easily arguable in the court of law and public opinion, whereas the origin you can't. So I think that you could dump that 37% or so could very well go in. That's a good call.
Well, this is why I defined it on this page. The origin address, like I more just put controlling entity or entities of hex token. Right?
Entities, yeah. And I imagine this. I mean, like if I was guessing, I'd say that there's like a few blind trusts set up to operate this, and because it would be more beneficial for the project for each of them to have some autonomy. You know.
Yeah.
I hope the OA doesn't go like full bore in, because like it would be cool to just say like you own like 1 billion Pulse tokens. Like I'd like to own 1 billion tokens of Pulse.
I mean, you still might be able to at 10,000x per. I still am a little like I'm still a little unclear. I think I understand it fully in the sense that, because now it's like I was reading that that there's not going to be a placeholder token now.
I heard that. I haven't confirmed it. I'll look at it.
I haven't confirmed or denied that.
I know Coffee said something.
Yeah, Coffee was saying something about that. But either way, the part that I'm still a little everyone puts in for this placeholder token, and then the supply of ETH is increased 10,000x to 1.1 trillion. And then that supply is then divided amongst the people who put into that pot based on the percentage that they put into that pot.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, so
Okay.
just for now, let's pretend token X isn't happening. It's just going to be whatever USD value you put in the sacrifice chamber, you're going to give that equivalent of the Pulse token, and the Pulse token is going to have a 10,000 to 1 supply to ETH. That's so. Yeah. Whatever USD value is in relation to everyone else that puts their value in, that's the thing. It's going to be in relation to everyone else. So if you put in 2% of the pot, you're going to get 2% of all of that Pulse that gets distributed. Yep. So the current supply of Ethereum is like 150 million. So Pulse is going to be 1.5 trillion, and so 1% be 1.5 billion. So if you want 1% of the supply,
you need 1 billion tokens. Yeah, but I mean, like, and at a penny though, I mean, if Richard was anywhere near correct in that, like, in that if you were launched at 5% of the value of ETH, but I mean, that's not what the cost of token X is, or the buy-in. If the buy-in cost ramps up as I'm seeing, I mean, people are going to pay wildly different prices for tokens that are worth very little at the start.
And I think that's what he was trying to figure out, is that bonding curve, how the equation is going to be where it's not just a mad dash for like the first minute or two. And so
I like the idea of having a few days of free, like everybody that has a couple days, 2 or 3 days of like time to put in, before the ramp ups begin, and then the ramp ups begin. And if you're anywhere near what he said.
Speculation is the 2 to 3, because I think I've heard 2 to 3, 3 to 5.
What?
That's all I guess. That's total. That part
okay.
is a total speculative
I've heard like
guess. He just said.
I heard like
said
1
that,
to 7 at some
would,
point. So
yeah. He just said that it would be right to have a time before it goes up.
So it's not like first in,
Yeah, he said it's just like anything else. It sucks to make 1,000x more than somebody for being a second earlier. That's
Yeah. So how many days does?
There's a part on the back end that you can't really stop that on, and that's going to be the actual launch of like on the launch of Pulse.
Yeah. I agree with that.
When again, I brought it up last time that it's like that movie where everyone settles the Louisiana Purchase. I can't remember what it's called. It's like an older movie where like 60s movie where like they let all the frontiers people loose on the Louisiana Purchase, and everyone gets to like run out and like with their horses and bands, everybody like chases out and like gets to stake their claims of land that they own. Then that was literally how it was done, with Manifest Destiny style. There's a time period of that you can't really stop with Pulse launching.
I'm going.
Fightful goes west.
I'm going right away to Pulse. First stop, PulseX, baby.
All right. Well, we're getting into a little bit of Pulse. Let's let Gunter continue, because I mean we have plenty on the to-do list.
Sorry, I get ahead of myself.
That's all right. That's all right.
Big K, now shut up.
Hey, you guys are like experts at taking tangents.
That's what I do for a living.
So then going back to this page, so you could see what's nice about running these numbers is you could actually see the percentage of users, or the percentage of tokens that the users have actually staked. Because before we always thought like, man, only 10% are staked, right? Because you look at these numbers up here and you're like, only 9.8% is staked out of all total HEX. But when you start to exclude the origin address, then you realize that the user is actually using HEX as designed, and 67% of all tokens owned by the users are actually staked. And we expect this number to climb.
So impressive.
That's awesome.
Well, you think it'll climb, or you think in the short term it's actually going to decline with the sacrifice phase?
Ooh, good.
I think long term it will climb, but I think short term it'll actually decrease.
I'm so with you, Motley. I agree. Short term, but
it might
long-term.
decrease forever, guys. It might decrease. We might never get back to this level again, because if a lot of people decide to unstake and then give those coins to, I don't know, somebody that acts similar to the origin address and doesn't stake, then how are we ever going to get back to those percentages again?
Well, no, then it wouldn't be. Then those coins wouldn't be considered in the user user section anymore, because those tokens were given away to the OA entity or entities.
I meant the total, like the 9.8% total stake that we have or whatever, wherever we're at right now.
Oh yeah.
Like we might never ever get back.
Oh
to
yeah, we might
potentially.
We might not return to those levels.
Well, we could also have a good accounting event that ratchets us back down like 0.3% too. So, I mean, that's kind of what happened the first go around, right? We were at like this level, and then good accounting happened, and then we went down, point whatever it was percent. We've since worked our way back up, and we're kind of like right in the neighborhood of our all-time high user stake percentage. So that's why I brought that up over the past, I guess, couple of weeks. Is like, could we see like a good accounting round again? And of course, that would affect market cap as well. So.
All kinds of fun little game theory levels that can be pulled.
Possibilities are endless, man. It's so great.
Yeah. All right, Gunter, continue. Tangents. We're all about them. So.
No, it's good. It's good. I like it. So so this next section is a relatively new section. I'm basically taking here with total liabilities. I'm looking at all HEX in circulation. So this number right here is actually a liability for the price, because it's the only liability for the price if we assume that the origin address is not selling, and currently that assumption is valid because it's not, right? It's valid unless that behavior changes. So literally everyone else is actually a liability for the price that holds liquid tokens. Obviously, stake tokens don't come into account because they're burned up out of existence and they're not part of this, right? So that's total liabilities. And what I did was, with the help of Crispy from the community, we initially imported addresses that held a minimum of 1 million liquid hex tokens and above, and then sort of just ignored everyone else just for sake of like efficiency. And what we came up with was a balance that's around, well, we have it broken up into 3 parts: lower, higher, and equal balance liability, which I'll explain in a second. And then everyone else that we didn't account for, meaning the addresses that you don't see on the liabilities page, those are all the other liabilities. We just don't have the addresses. We haven't gone through that, and I haven't figured out an efficient way to actually import those addresses into Excel. So that's about 2.3 billion. But anyway, these other 3, I defined these 3 terms on this page. You've got a higher balance, a lower balance, and an equal balance. All right. So what the fuck does that mean, right? Basically, you could just look under here and see the criteria for that, right? So it might be at this point, maybe I'll shift away from this page and go into the liabilities page, right? So these are all the addresses that we've accounted for. These are not the other liabilities. These are just the other addresses that make up the majority of HEX tokens in circulation. So it doesn't capture everyone. So just keep that in mind. And you also have to think too, it doesn't capture any addresses that have like bought HEX since these addresses were imported. So like if somebody went and bought 15 million HEX recently and never had HEX before, well, their address is not going to show up on the spreadsheet. But yeah, so we have a similar button on this page. Like you guys don't see this button because we can't release that because there's API keys that are tied to these buttons, and that would create problems for us. But yeah, so I've got an update button where basically I've got the previous balance of all these addresses. It's about 1,224 addresses or something like that. And then I'll run a script and it'll go and fetch the most current address. And so you have a previous balance and an available balance. The available balance, of course, is just the liquid tokens that currently sit in that wallet. And then what I do is I compare the balances. I first ask the question, are the tokens in the available balance column greater than the previous balance? And then it's either false or true. And then I ask another question, are they equal to each other? And it's either false or true. And so by that, I'm able to determine 3 different columns. One is an equal balance, one is a higher balance, and one is a lower balance. So what does this mean, right? What's the implications of this? It's not very straightforward, right? So bear with me. So if you have a lower balance, right, what is the possible activity that you would expect to see in somebody whose previous balance is less than the available balance? Or sorry, where the available balance is less than the previous balance. What would you?
They're most likely selling.
That's what I initially thought. I was like, for sure, this is a seller. Boom, these are all sellers. But it's not exactly correct. They might be.
I see that some of them are exchanges and shit too.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the names here actually. Uniswap version 2, HEX, Uniswap version 2, HEX 3, Matic, Bitmart. I started going through those today. But because you have a lower balance, it doesn't necessarily mean they're selling. And that's why I wrote this definition of terms. So you go under lower balance, and so yeah, they could be selling HEX, so they have their available balance is less.
But could be staking.
It could be staking. If they stake, then the coins are burned up, right? So they're not a liability for the price. If they just stake their coins, they're actually diamond hands, right? They're strengthening the price. But they also could have bought HEX like recently, started a stake, and then their available balance is actually less than the previous balance because they staked their full load. So let's say they had 1 million tokens and they bought another million, so they got 2 million, and they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stake the full 2 million. So now they got a balance of 0. Well, they're not a liability for the price. They literally did not sell their tokens. They just staked everything. So you have to be careful to not jump to the wrong conclusion, basically.
And what about Starcode's point there? They could be transferring.
That's correct. That's the next one. They could have transferred HEX to another address.
Washing it. Exchange washing.
Yeah. Just like funneling it through multiple addresses and then finally selling. So you could actually trace those addresses and see when they transfer it, are they selling from those addresses, right? They could have added HEX to a liquidity pool. We saw that today where the one dude with 270 million tokens. So he was adding to a liquidity pool, but then he would remove and dump them on the market. You know what I mean? So you got to watch out for stuff like that. And then, of course, I added this new section, sacrifice HEX for X to eventually receive Pulse. That's also another thing to consider with a lower balance.
Yeah, I just taken a note here. If I can ask a question, it might not be applicable, but when was the last time, I guess, you ran the API on the difference in amounts? And you can probably answer that after I ask this one, because it'll probably just clear it right up. It'll be like a yes or no. But the reason I ask that is because we've seen so much action within the past, few days. Can we tell? Is it too early to tell? Like, say 250 million HEX has gone into some of these, possible OA addresses, or you just haven't had time to do that yet?
No, so I run the numbers like every day, usually a few times, but sometimes I notice there's a lag in bringing back the latest information. And I'm not sure why that is. So I'm not a developer, so I am restricted on like my scope of knowledge, right? So for some reason, when it goes to fetch like the most current available balances, sometimes there's a lag in time and it doesn't actually grab the most recent balance. So I have to actually click on the address and double check.
Is that around the time when the contract rolls over in UTC time? No, I think that might have something to do with it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I didn't actually write the code for this. Crispy wrote the code, and so he would have a better idea of actually being able to describe that, like how it actually works. But yeah, it's a fair question. But yeah, so like even like this morning, like I'll just show you real quick, right? Just so you can see. You go to this page, you hit this update button, and it just starts going down the list. And it'll go grab like it's supposed to grab the most current data. And it goes one by one. It's actually really slow. It's not really efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I can escape out of it so it doesn't run through the whole thing.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I do run this quite frequently to be honest.
Nice. Yeah. The only reason I asked is because like sometimes for example, like when I'm watching HEX news, and sometimes Hexo always goes in and checks the new stats when the rollover happens, and sometimes it just takes a while to update, even after the actual time of the rollover. So
what we're watching right now is the Matrix.
Unfortunately, like I can hit escape, but it still has to like scroll down all the way through the end. It's really annoying. Imagine doing this like every day. It's quite tedious.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It involves HEX. I think it's pretty damn cool. So.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So anyway, we also set this up for the origin address page as well. So then we get the same functionality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Crispy's in the chat now too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up, Crispy?
Nice.
So a lot of credit to Crispy. I could not have done a lot of this work without him. So much respect for all the help that he gave me.
Cool.
So we got 3 columns, and you could sort, right? So like this is the lower balance, right? But then you could scroll down, and how you could consider like the higher balance, right? And you'd be like, okay, so who's everyone else that has a higher balance? The first thing that comes to your mind is like, well, they're buying HEX, right? And they might be, and you would expect that for many of these addresses. But you also have to consider that they could also like they could have just minted their HEX tokens by ending a state. So now they have more tokens, and they could actually be a very like big liability for the price because they could start selling them on the market, right? So that's something to consider. They could have also sold HEX like after minting the tokens, but still maintained a higher balance than the previous balance. And so you can't actually see that they're a liability, but they really are. So this is something to watch out for. And of course, they could receive HEX via transfer from another address or remove HEX from a liquidity pool. So those are some options to consider. And then finally, the last category, the column, is the equal balance, right? These are the addresses where there's probably no activity, but that's not necessarily true. So like they could have done a combination of like 2 or more activities described in these sections where their balance is totally equal after they did all of that. But it's also unlikely because this is accurate to like I forget how many decimal places. Let's see. This is accurate to like 7 decimal places. So most likely the equal balances actually, I think, in my opinion, pose the least amount of risk for the price. But I don't want to be concrete on that because a lot of times people like to deal with whole numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. So those are the 3 categories. I don't know if it really helps to break them down that way, but for me it helps. I don't know. Do you guys find that useful, or maybe it's not? Maybe it's like, whatever.
No, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely interesting information. You know something about whatever address or groups of addresses you're looking at right away. I mean, you don't know it specifically, but like if you click on that one because you're interested, well, now you can know what to be looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And so it might streamline it might make it a little bit more efficient in your research, especially if you're dealing with a lot of addresses. You know what I mean? Like for me, when you guys start sacrificing HEX, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the column of lower balances because your balances are decreasing, and then I'm going to start, tracking.
Watching everybody.
Nosy Gunter over here. Just
I was gonna say,
Silver 2.0.
Silver has that document for his research. So he can
Gunter the Antidote is at play here, so be careful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's great.
Anyway, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Like that's pretty much the summary of the whole page or the whole spreadsheet, I guess.
No, that's awesome, man.
I did forget this one brief section here that I recently added. We now can just see quickly the cost of a T-share at 522, and you can actually update this. That's pretty soon, that T-share, so 527. You're looking pretty soon, you're going to be looking at, for one T-share, about $52,700.
Oh my God.
The price is going to go. What I'm saying is the price is going to go up. The price is going to go up 100x, and when that happens, then it's going to be $52,700 for one T-share. So you might want to think twice before just giving up your T-shares like haphazardly.
Yeah. I mean, and that was the best. God. That's a great lead into the 100x tweet of Richard's, man. That shit gets me tingly, man. I was like, when somebody calls and asks about it, I was like, yeah, just look at this tweet and just like quiet down, just give it a minute. We're about the 100x is pretty close.
Yep. So just real quickly, one last statement here. The only values that you need to change that don't actually have a formula is this value here, HEX per T-share, and total T-shares. But these other ones will actually have formulas for these 3. So you really, and then if you save this copy, then you can just hit Control-Alt F9, and it'll reload the numbers. Everything's self-referenced. So
awesome. How cool, man.
Nobody could believe when he said 52,000 T-shirt. Someone needs a screenshot Motley's face. Nice.
Well, I mean, but we've been talking about that for a long time, though, right? Like a T-share is going to be worth more than a Bitcoin. Like it is coming. They are deflationary. It will overtake at some point.
It doesn't take that much economic energy to move the price up by 100x. Everyone's like, oh, I hope we see 3 cents by the end of the year. I hope we see 7 cents by the end of the year. This is absolute nonsense. This is total nonsense. Like I've already done the math. Like You could
That's
literally
right. Tell them.
you could pump the price of HEX to $30 for less than $200 million. But of course you'd have to include the amount of sell pressure that you would encounter along the way. But it would be 200 million in terms of buy pressure plus whatever sell pressure you need to absorb. That's to go to $30, but to go to like $3, I mean, we're talking about like $72 million of buy pressure, roughly. I forget what these. No, it's actually less. I think it's like $58 million. So, I mean, it doesn't take as much economic energy as people think.
Yeah. It's that random line again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kirk, you brought that up.
Yeah, I don't know which is cooler, the random line that's now like it's a little bit different of a random line here. This one's underneath now, but
Yeah,
still,
you caught that too, right? So it's a more tame version of the random line.
yeah.
I mean,
Realistic
it's
random
still
line.
ridiculous, but it's a little more tame.
It's just a random line. It's doing its thing. But yeah, it has a lot to do with that. I mean, that I can't remember who's making the good point about this line on this chart and how well we've respected it and how much that's impressive considering that this chart I'm pretty sure is in logarithmic scale. So like, that's more of a random curve that we're respecting very nicely. It's awesome.
Yeah, and I actually pulled that one up. I had the other tweet, actually. I should have pulled up before that, so let me get that one there for you. What I meant to reference was...
There it is.
There you go.
Hilarious. Maybe funny.
There we go. Yeah. See, this tweet actually kind of was not very specific for me because I didn't know if he meant like 100x from now or 100x, including the bottom. So, but
well,
I took the more conservative approach, and I think we could definitely do 100.
I mean, I like
the bottom
at the
real
moment
quick,
when he said it, we were at 2 cents almost on the dot. So like, wouldn't it be funny if we went straight up to $2? Is how I read it. That's how I read it, Which again, like you're saying, Gunter, is that like it's really we're not that far away from it. It's right.
No. I think everyone just thinks like they have some sort of psychological barrier in their mind that the price of HEX can't go to $1 or $3. Okay, so like imagine that's the same barrier that people had when they got into Bitcoin, right? So let's say Bitcoin's low was a penny, right? Even though it was less than that, but let's just say a penny, and the price went up, let's say 445x. So now the price is $4.45. It's like them saying, I could never see Bitcoin at $50 or $100 or $1,000. And meanwhile, Bitcoin just hit 63,000 not too long ago from $4.45. You know what I mean? So
man.
That's all it is.
That's a good point.
If you had told someone that was trading Bitcoin under $1 that it would go to 50 some odd K, they'd have punched you in the nose. They'd have been like, "Go fuck yourself." They just like straight up. I can remember very clearly. I tell the story all the time that like it's Bitcoin at $684, and I'm like yelling at my wife and being like, not like angrily, but I was like, "I missed it, man! I missed it! I can't believe I missed it! Like it was there. I should have been paying so." And like, boy, that sounds silly now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A couple shout outs to our Hexakick community. We move fast. So we have 52.7 per T share. And then we got Motley face going on here. Thank you.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Freddie Quotes, man. Oh, dude, that's beautiful.
It is great.
And also, Crypto King has a cool note in here. For those that haven't heard, Geo Griffin will be boarding the pirate ship Discourse Syndicate May 10th, 7 o'clock. So I guess that's Monday, right?
Yeah.
So thanks to Hex getting him on the show. and then we have some fallout. People still getting excited. They probably have Motley face, but we don't have cameras on them. No need. Yeah.
It's great. It's great, man. But it's a reality, and we talked about it jokingly that T shares one day would be B shares, and but that's it's just in the cards. And because the fact that the curve works the way that it does, and the staking and the interest works that it does, it's all percentage based. So like people will still happily stake and happily get at half a T share because they're still going to get the like in their USD value, they're going to be very, very happy with how things go.
Need to be a face of a coin, man. That'd be
I hope I'm greater than Doge, dog. That thing's a piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
damn.
Doge's gonna crash soon. By the way, don't buy it.
Yeah. I had a buddy call me, and he's like, how do I buy Dogecoin? And I was like, get the fuck out of here right now with that. He's like, I got a tip. I got a hot tip. And I was like, what? That Elon Musk is going to talk about it on SNL? He's like, yeah. How did you know?
How'd you know?
Nope, that's going to be the call.
because it's not a tip, bro.
Everybody knows. I was like, he's like, well, then, and I was like, walk me through this again, real quick.
Everyone knows he's going to mention HEX, not
so
Doge.
he's going to say something about it. I'm like, and then everyone's going to buy. And I was like, no, everyone like you knows to buy now. I was like, don't you understand that it's like you're buying the rumor. And if you try and buy the news, you're going to get fucked. Like, it's already too late. It's already too late, dog. You know?
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended, dog.
Too late, dog. Sorry.
I was like, you have to research that one on your own, man. Welcome. Good luck.
You learn the hard way, unfortunately.
That brings up just to quick plug your efforts, Motley, for throw them out there for the Elon Musk thing.
Yes,
I have participated, and retweeted and liked and all that stuff. So
it's actually been really impressive. It was a random thing the other day. I was just like really bored at work and obviously didn't want to work, so I was just like, oh, what can we do? And I heard that Elon was going on SNL on Saturday. I was like, all right, let's just bombard him for the next 2 days straight with tagging him, tagging HEX, give him memes, give him facts, give him everything. And the community did an amazing job. I think I first put it out on Wake Up with HEX, and they did a really good job putting it out to the community. And we probably hit him with thousands and thousands of tags on HEX, on Elon. Like I think we've had more HEX just tagged HEX posts and Elon posts in the past couple of days than we've had probably ever. Like if you search how many times HEX was put out. So it's been really impressive. Obviously we slowed it down a little bit today. My goal is to kind of push it out again today. But with with the freaking sacrifice chamber getting put out that we have 7 days now, that's kind of taken precedence. But I continue to just tag Elon in random posts today, and a lot of the other community members have as well. But it's just like that bombardment, right? Like we pretty much did it for 24 hours straight. So at some point, you like to think, even though he gets thousands of messages a day, he starts seeing it's like, what the fuck is this HEX? Why does everyone keep tagging me in this? These spaceships that have a HEX on them. My face swapped on all these different characters. Like, what is this? So that's the goal, right? Get him to get enough attention in his direction that he at least is curious enough to look.
I mean, how many people follow that dude, man? Lots of people.
Like
and like,
million,
so if somebody just searches that and then they start finding our content, tagging him and stuff too. I mean, that helps. I mean, like you're not just talking to one dude. You're really talking to his whole following, which is a lot of people to pay attention to that dude. So, I mean, it's great. I think that's been awesome. I've been really very impressed with. I mean, I was looking through some of the posts that people were making on it. I mean, like some of them are getting hundreds of likes, easy. Tons of retweets. I mean, very impressive.
I was
awesome.
Busting out the meme folder hardcore.
It was great.
I was pulling everything out.
Damn, Motley's got it going on. There's so many that y'all had.
It's about a year and a half of stuff that I've just been collecting, right? Like, so I've just been saving it from Telegram tweets that everyone's put out over the past year and a half. Like, I've just been storing it all. So, like, literally, it was just like one day of just unleashing everything I had. Turns out there's a lot of Elon stuff already pre-made, ready to go as well. So, that worked.
Yeah, and one more note on you, Motley. How many hours of sleep are you operating on? Because when I went to bed, you were hosting the Knights of the Crypto Roundtable, and then I woke up about 4 in the morning, and you just concluded another stream
And then
because
the
I guess you
green room.
saw during your show that Richard put that out about Pulse.
Yep. So we had the Knights of the Crypto table going. We had ended it, and then it was just me looking at crypto and dollar costs in the green room, and we were just messing around. And all of a sudden, like I was literally like, when I say like I was going to bed, I like because you have to cut it off at some point, otherwise we'll go till like 3 or 4 in the morning, which is only 1 in the morning for them, but it's like a cat nap for me.
West Coasters,
west to East Coast. And so I was just like, all right, guys, like I'm going to bed. And all of a sudden, dollar cost is like, whoa. And I'm like, what, dude? And he's like, yo, look at Richard's tweet. So we look at Richard's tweet. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. 7 days until the sacrifice phase starts. I was like, is this for real? I was like, oh my God. So we start freaking out. All of us start grabbing our laptops, we start talking to each other, figuring out how much hex we're gonna buy. Like, and then we're like, should we go live? It's like, do we just go live again? We got to go live. so we're all buying hex. We like had to bring up another stream, started tweeting out, and then we just turned it into like essentially Discourse Syndicate free for all. Cream came on, started leading the show because we're all exhausted at this point.
Yeah.
So Cream can keep going for hours and hours.
Like
so we had that. Had a couple new Hexicans. We had Craig from the Celsius community. So we had a whole bunch of people just watching, partaking in the pure elation and joy, watching the pump, all-time highs. Just like it was crazy. But like, yeah, I think the past 3 or 4 days I've averaged less than 3 hours of sleep per night. So I'm hurting. After this stream, I'm just gonna go to sleep. I'm literally just going to bed.
Well,
But
according to you, we have about 30 hours until Hex hits 10 cents. So no pressure.
Better get going.
Yeah, that's great.
You had the FOMO pants
God,
on last night, dude.
It could happen.
Oh, I mean, no,
it could happen.
You could come back next week and be like, I told you.
I think that it could be very easily in the very next week or so. Like, I mean, it shit is coming, man. It is coming.
Well, I'll put it this way. I know after the wake up Hex, I know Peter was telling me like I think I promised him a pump. He's like, I'm gonna hold you to that pump. I was like, okay. So he got his pump. Wasn't necessarily my doing. Thank you, Richard. He came through in the clutch, but he got his pump. Now we'll see how long it takes us to get to 10 cents. But I think we get to 5 cents very shortly here.
Yep, I would say 5 cents pre-sacrifice, and is. I don't know if we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into price talks. So we can wait on that. I could hold off.
Yeah, we can definitely get there. I did want to get your take. Kurk, you might be good to speak to this. Did you take a look at the node bit?
Yeah, we have one running. That's cool. That's good because you can test things. You know, it's just it's an environment for testing code. That's what a node really is. Like, my computer's a node, everybody's a node, but like he's got software running on a computer that very shortly will be speaking with the same software on another computer, and then we'll have some ability to make sure, consensus, all the rest works. And so, like, I mean, for the most part, this shit, like, what we want to see happening is, that they made the clone. Like, they cut the little cutting off and stuck it in. There's some roots growing, so that's the the roots are growing, and that's the we need to have, once he has a couple. Yeah.
Analogies are great for
you dip it in that little rooting powder or gel, or whatever, and then you stick it in a little cube of rock wool. And then you terrarium it. You make sure you get some good moisture in there. You don't want it to dry out. And then before you know it, roots just start growing. They start growing. And once you get one going, and like that, and we can, like I said, you can be doing two things at the same time. You can be testing code on what you want to have happen and seeing what sort of things you can get done, as well as making sure that consensus stuff starts working, and like the network, you get it as soon as you can get two nodes running, then like, oh wow, okay, now this idea works, so like you can start developing in two different directions at the same time, which is great. So I mean, the things start moving faster then. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. I mean, like, hey, like Richard, the more important thing for people listening, honestly, like the way I think about this, like Richard's made these tweets out a few times already. And like, if you are listening to this shit and you're having one of those, like, you know what they should do kind of moments, go into the Pulse Chain Telegram and say something. Because like this is it, you know, just
the
like
time.
I remember, this is the time. I remember in HEX, like there was a lot of time of development. There was so much time that you had. If you had something to fucking say, you had all day, week, month, 6 more, 4 more weeks, forever to say it, you know. And like, and because of that, there was some really important relationships made, and there was some really important information made. I mean, I mean, there's some problems that were solved through the community. I mean, Kyle got to work on this project because he found it. You know, he didn't know who Richard was, none of that shit. You know, he just was like, saw a difficult problem and was wanted to learn the code and, you know, got into it that way. So like, I think that like anybody that's out there that has interesting things to say, I mean, Gunter, you took on a task that you weren't expecting to take on whatsoever, 6-8 months ago. I doubt that you were thinking you were going to be running spreadsheet numbers on origin address, fucking address, when this all started. Yeah, thousands of addresses. But like now you're here doing that, like a super awesome thing for the community. And like you have, awesome input. Like, I mean, just you saying to us, there's a chance this origin address is fucking putting into Pulse, is a great input, amongst other things, so like I really encourage everyone out there to come out and say something and participate. There's a bunch of things that do need to be like finished, and the thing is about a lot of these things when you're coming up with numbers, is 4.2% per day the right amount of X up, or per million? I don't know. Does Richard know? No, he probably doesn't know either. But 42 is a cool number, and I like that. So like that's a good place to start. So if you have a reason why it should be 3.69 or 5.2, fucking come with it. This is a great time to do so. So I mean, it really made me feel excited and like, more a part of the community when you saw people's good ideas being taken to heart, the first time around. So, make your, if you want to be heard, now's your time.
Thank you, Starcode. I don't know if I proved it. Maybe I demonstrated it though. A proof is very rigorous.
Yeah, it is rigorous, but you did it. I mean, but you have criteria that you say this address is. I mean, you're not saying guaranteed on anything, but these addresses did these things, and by that standard, here's the numbers on it, which is as close to, provable as you can get.
Yeah, I was gonna say you model the behavior. I mean, without factually knowing, each individual one. I mean, that's like the best anybody can do. It's also the time input, into that, which is just, man, kudos to you, brother.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. Happy to help. Hey, another thing to consider too, besides the bonding curve, you also have to think about the USD price appreciation of HEX. So maybe you decide to FOMO and go all in on day one because you're like, hey, I'm at the bottom of the parabola or whatever it's going to be, right? It's probably something like a parabola. I'm at the bottom of the bonding curve. I'm in on day one. But then let's say you put in, let's say 1 million HEX, and let's say HEX is at like what, 5 cents, for example. But then like just a few weeks later, HEX is now $1 or $2. Well, you have to think about the US dollar value of the HEX that you're putting in at that very moment in time. So yeah, many will say, oh, well, don't speculate about price. Don't speculate about price. But what do you think price is going to do though, if everyone's sacrificing their HEX so it can no longer be dumped on the market and people are selling all their shit coins to buy HEX, so it's pumping the price. And we just finished 12 months of price consolidation, and it's not 4 months, it's 12 months, because 12 months ago the price was 0.006. And I don't know if you recall, but it was that price just not too long ago. So if you ignore volatility, the price basically consolidated for 12 months. Like some good examples might be Tesla or Verge. What happens after 12 months of price consolidation? A massive face melting price expansion of like 50, 100, 150, 200x, whatever it's going to be. We don't really know, but it's going to be a massive price expansion, right? So there's so many bullish elements here Not to mention you're copying the entire system state of the Ethereum network, which has never been done before. So there's just so many like elements here.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, we haven't even had a chance to get into any of that kind of talk yet, and that's like a whole nother wing of discussion that could be gone into for a long time. You know, it's incredible. I mean, like I agree with you 100%.
Well, I mean, we can get into it.
So many strategies not to make public.
Yeah. Actually, before we go into that, when Richard said 7 days, how literal do you think?
So he would like it to be 7 days.
I'll say we're at 6 now, right?
Because I know some Mexicans in Telegram weren't too happy when he first put that out. So
yeah, but he put out 7 days last Friday.
You want me to tell you guys like one of the things that like I like?
Yes.
It's frustrating that people are upset about this shit, you know. But like, here's the thing: is like I peruse and indulge in shit coins and like other networks out there, and like a lot of people bought into a lot of
if you will,
connoisseur of sorts, and breathe in the aromas of shit coinery. Here's the thing, man, is like I have been a part of a bunch of different projects or networks or bought into a bunch of different shit that are blockchains of all different kinds. And like, you know how many of those, whether it be, you know, I could drop names of all sorts of ones that are like this market cycle, for instance, big ones that like everyone has heard of, like Polkadot or Solana or ADA or any of these ones that have pumped that are their own blockchains, right? Those were all, there was a pre-sale. Did you get it on the pre-sale? No. Could you still make mad money on them? Yes. So like, there will be a lot of people that will buy in later. And like, what people don't understand, like HEX is not being treated special on Pulse. It's just like everything else, right? Well, what do you get that nobody else gets? There's one major thing here, and that's being here right now, listening to this shit, listening to that asshole, spending 6 hours of your fucking life listening to that asshole talk about fucking, you know, pulses and fucking what dildos are the best and shit. Like when like you're here for that shit. And so like, you know how many other people are here for that shit? Not fucking many. So like the fact that it's happening faster is better for you. It's better for everyone because you have the insider information. It's the only thing that he can really do without saying he's doing anything for us that he can do for Hexicans. That like there's not going to be a chance for VCs to get their fucking claws in it. Besides the couple that are already in Hex right now that we are kind of aware of. You know, it's not going to be a chance for a lot of this fucking other money to be involved in this because like they won't be. Like they just don't have the fucking pre-knowledge of it. So like be super stoked that we have that information and that we're able to be a part of it. Even 1/10 of the money that you could get in 3 months is better because there's just, what did you say earlier? Is there always a bigger fish in the sea? So if there's always a bigger fish, then there's somebody else that if you give them that kind of time, they can get fucking 10 times as much money as you can get. And they're going to fucking blow this shit up way harder than you can. And so like, why would we want that? Why would we want that at all? We have one thing right now, this community that has the ability to fucking buy in as much as they can or feel comfortable. And they don't even have to buy in that hard if it's a percentage-based thing because we're the only ones that fucking know, man. We're the only ones that know.
That's an excellent point.
Hexagon looks like as of now, Richard's considering moving the 4.2% increase per million USD value that comes in. So that's interesting. If that's the case, and it really does just come down to a 5% increase per day, and that's the only factor that changes with the Pulse token you're getting if they're removing Token X as well. It's going to be some serious game theory on what day there's going to be a lot of dollar cost averaging. There's going to be people that are trying to model how much the value of HEX is going to go up. If that's the only factor, it's just a 5% increase per day. Man, it's going to be a game of chicken for 30 days. It's gonna be it's gonna be very
and the thing is like, and you know, Gunter here knows how modeling works and how hard it is to do this kind of shit. And so like you have to like some of this, guys, you get to, you know, you have to go with your gut and you have to like, you know, like you have to trust that like, you know, that you're not, I wouldn't put anything like all in or put anything in jeopardy. I'm not selling a fucking HEX that I already own before any of this shit was announced whatsoever. you know. But like, I mean, that's fun, you know, and unique and interesting. And there's not very many ways you get to have this kind of like, you know, just don't expect to be able to model shit out for, you know, don't build some giant, you know, very difficult, complex model, because like you're not going to have that long to even run it or build it. You know, you're really not. It's going to happen and be gone in 45, 50, maybe 60 days at most, you know. I mean, and then we'll be in we'll be talking about a whole new, you know, set of shit.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious to me day one when like everyone was bitching just about Hexagon's not getting extra special treatment or anything like that. It was very obvious to me because like all of us are deep in the weeds, and like this is your advantage, the insider information, where like in the traditional finance world, this would all be insider trading. But guess what? In crypto, now that you're in this community, you get to know about all this knowledge before anyone else. Like all these,
you can't say
it's
in no one can call it insider trading.
No. It's not actually, but
he's like, bro, I do that shit on YouTube.
That's how valuable it is, though, because unless you're in the weeds of the Hex community, you don't really know about all this stuff. Like how many people do we have from like Celsius in here? There's a couple of people that might own Celsius or some other tokens, but there's really not communities just watching our videos. It's
you guys have been listening. You've been listening to us, the sound of our fucking stupid voices for so long, and like now you have a chance to capitalize that, and this is a good chance for it to pay off for you, you know. So like I mean, like that should be, if anybody's complaining about that shit, they're like missing they're missing it, you know. They're really missing it.
There's also a misconception too that where everyone thinks that they're going to become a pulse chain whale. That's not exactly accurate. So like if you're competing with someone that has $150 million, right, and you have $10,000, right, who do you think the whale is? So we should be careful to be very transparent and honest with people and not mislead them down that path and say, oh, become a pulse chain whale, become a pulse chain whale. It's true, you'll get in before a lot of other people and it gives you a major advantage, but you also do have to realize that you're competing against players.
You don't think you're going to
Yeah.
If you're running the shrimps right now, then like there's a good chance you're not running up to the sharks. You know, it's just, I mean, like even in the pulse move over. Now I will say that there are people like there's an interesting element of this, you know, that like people are going to be able to gamble on more shit coins, pulse tokens of all different varieties than you could possibly imagine. I could sit down here and do some numbers with you for a while to show you that there will be some, you know, you could possibly become a whale in some other token, you know, besides Hex or Pulse, or, you know, in this, like I said, the run up along the Louisiana Purchase, the Manifest Destiny moment. But those are insane gambles. It's like you have to be very clear on what you're doing when you make those purchases of X, Y, or Z shit tokens that are going to be on the Pulse network. And
guess what? A lot of those Ethereum whales and stuff now too, like they're hesitant to maybe put skin in the game right at this point, because they are the large whales in their ecosystem. So why sacrifice a portion of their what they've worked on building for years through multiple cycles into this pulse chain that's unproven to them? It might not be worth the risk. The juice isn't worth the squeeze to them at that point. So maybe they're not willing to put as much skin in the game. Maybe even a fraction of what they put in. Yes, it's probably still a lot, but maybe they're just not willing to do it, because at that point, when you become such a large whale in the ecosystem, it's all about just mitigating risk and taking your opportunity cost when you can. So Pulse Chain might not be the winning play for a lot of big whales, and this really does give the chance to the smaller guys. But like you said, it's all about perspective. Some whales will come in with millions of dollars. You might come in with 10,000. Maybe you get 100,000. Maybe Hex pumps to that 10, 20 cents, and maybe you have a lot more economic mass than you originally decided. Maybe you decide you only want to put half that and continue to hold your Hex. Like it just gives you flexibility and different options to kind of take on the sacrifice phase. And I honestly just look forward to it as just being fun, right? Like it's gonna be fun competition. How can I accumulate the most of one asset while retaining another asset, and just fun competition amongst Hexagon community members, and then competing against maybe new communities that come on to the Pulse chain as well. It's gonna be fun. It's exciting.
It's like unlike anything I've been a part. I mean, I've been a part of some forks. You know, we've all like, you know, I don't know about we've
different.
all, but like,
This
this is completely different. There's some.
yeah.
This is totally different. There's so many.
Different strand.
Oh, it's so different. So
Hey,
different.
watch it.
But
Well,
there
I'm
are
keeping it on the
there
grow.
are
The grow, you know, the
elements-
seedlings.
Okay. Oh yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing is
Yeah.
there are elements to this, and it brings up a question that was asked to us before we went on stream. I don't know if you have it, Cabana, but it was a question about what coins that somebody thinks would be good enough DeFi plays in the space to like jump into, you know, because there are going to be things that operate on Pulse on day one.
I'm saving that one.
Okay, cool. Well, I won't even get into that then. But like, yeah, I mean, but it's okay. Then forget about where I was. I had you know, we'll just
I figure we could end
That
on
lays
like some
last.
price talk and that question that you're talking about.
yeah, it's a good question.
It's an excellent question, and it was Blue Bum actually brought it up in chat, and they talked about it on the Aussie stream. I think it was last Saturday, and it was just, you know, nobody knows.
I have a pretty.
But the speculation and the theories behind it is very interesting. So I'm very curious as to what we come up with here.
I got a great tagline for it all, man.
Tagline. I'm looking for coins, man. I'm looking for names and reasoning.
Well, then you're missing the fucking point. but that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. I mean, like that's
whose point? Your point?
I think the point of the gains.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I'll be
think.
there either way. So,
Yeah.
but I think.
But don't get me wrong. Here's the
I
thing.
think we're talking
Like,
two separate
full
things. Like
full
I understand
disclosure.
you, but
Full disclosure, I will be speculating on some shit coins too, my friends. You
Gotcha.
know, we will be jumping in to the
running into the shit
May
coin
the force
forest.
be with you. Good luck.
And I know, or I believe that
a dangerous
Motley
place.
and the Knights of the Crypto Table have discussed some as well. So
Yep.
you don't have to, you know,
I won't.
obviously.
I won't.
But I, you know, maybe you can like
If you
give us a
want to.
wink or something if we discuss something that you like, or cough. So yeah,
Blink twice.
like it's tough because like the only things that I'm going to address is things that people address me with. Honestly, like there's a lot of, I mean, like full disclosure, guys. Like there's a lot of this that like I don't think that like anybody wants to fully shit. Like I'll give you I'm not lying about anything I say, but do I want to give you every play on everything? No, that's what.
and even then it's like
give away your
speculation, right?
alpha.
Well, yeah, but I mean, in something that's a smaller community, yeah, you could give away, you know, some alpha, like you just said there, Vince. But like in terms of like, you know, a stock market play or something like that, where you have so much liquidity, it's like, oh, I can't tell you my next move. And like, bro, you know, you're not going to move the market, you know, if word gets out, you know.
But if a whale does come in the ecosystem and they like what you put out there, then they do affect.
Yeah,
it.
they
Well,
can,
I'm saying
and
this
then
this is a little different. Yeah.
Yep.
this is very different, man. This is very different. This is, I mean, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. I love this shit, man. It really can't get any better.
Good Hexo style, wiggle your ties.
None of this is financial
Or
Not
advice.
that classic.
Over here for yes, over here for no. Yeah. I don't like that coin. I
Start
do like
sending
that.
mixed signals like which way's left. And
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gotta do the Richard Chart thing. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Well, we can end on all the fun Paul stuff. Somebody brought up some friendly competition. I believe it was you, Motley. Want to do a little round of easy trivia to get us into the final leg of Paul's discussion?
Sure.
All right. Now bear with me, because if you guys make it far enough, and Vince is defending champion, by the way, with the Kentucky Derby and horse
How
knowledge.
did that happen?
Well, I don't know. You've been talking to Randy Hilarski or
Horses and
something.
perfumes.
That was great.
Yeah, but yeah, for anybody who's new to the show, we do a couple of segments on here. Depends upon how much time we have. We're talking a lot of Hex and Pulse this week, so we'll just do like a round of a game of easy trivia, if you will. So these are easy trivia questions. Motley doesn't think so sometimes, but
Just the pop
Intermediate
culture
trivia.
ones. That's
well,
all.
we'll go around there and just have a little fun before we get into the final segment. Are you in, Gunter?
I'm in, but keep your expectations very low. You'll probably have a good time. Yeah.
Well, I do have some animal-friendly questions to at least try to get Motley out of the first round because that's what he likes.
Oh, bro, your animal trivia was trash. Like so much of it was wrong or not specific enough.
You're telling me like a falcon is like
A falcon is the fastest
It
animal.
is. It was on Earth. The cheetah is on Earth. The falcon is like coming down.
Falcons are what? They're in orbit or what?
It's not on the Earth now. Is it?
Oh, is it on the landmass? Is it? Okay,
Oh, boy.
Anyways,
So much technicality.
Yes, lights out. We are about to enter the shitcoin coliseum once Pulse is launched, and we will enter it right after Easy Trivia as well.
and then there was like ladybug color spots. They actually have different ones besides
The most
black.
popular, anyway.
The most popular,
Non-albino ladybug.
the most popular ladybugs.
This is what I have to deal with here. This is what I have to deal with. Anyway, all right, Vince.
Yes.
Easy Trivia. Vince, what is a baby seal called? And chat. You can also answer.
Make sure everyone's off chat.
Yeah, and panelists, take off chat.
Oh, come on, Vince.
Shoot.
Well, we know if he magically gets it, he cheated. So,
Like Crispy.
yeah. Let me see here. Oh yeah, okay.
Pup.
Wait,
Yeah, seal pup.
what? That was awfully crypty-ish.
Oh,
Man, you guys need to have some integrity. I swear to God.
You know what's strange
You
about
say
that?
delay
The
and it's
reason
just
why
like,
the reason why I'm not gonna argue with that is because strangely enough, I was trying to get back. I heard it in my ear, and I'm trying to get back to the camera, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck it is too. And almost at the exact same moment that you said pup, I was like, pup, and then he was like, yeah. So
yeah. I was gonna say cub, but
You did say cub.
Why he said
Did I?
up?
Why'd you change your
I
mind,
said-
Vince?
Let's confuse Vince. Let's play confuse
I'm so
Vince.
confused.
You said cub initially.
Did
I
I?
thought you said pup.
I thought I said pup too.
I have
I
bad
thought he
hearing.
said
Well,
pup.
then you
I heard
said
pup.
All right.
We'll let Vince.
You
stay.
pass.
Well,
Vince, you pass.
I
Only
trust
because I don't want to see Vince go out on the first question.
It is a favorite of the show. So, out of context, Hex gets a hold of it and makes a video. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
play
Big
that
Kirk,
shit, man.
what is a group of lions called?
A pride.
Very good. Very good. Hey, Motley,
Hey, Cabana.
what's the tallest animal in the world?
Oh,
Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me think
Yeah.
real quick.
Stop.
Make sure it's not something stupid. Tallest. Now, what if it's laying horizontal? Like, are we standing it from tail to?
All right,
head
so
to tail.
moving on.
So it would be giraffe. But
All
I
right,
would-
good.
it-
Just quit while you're ahead. All right.
What?
All right,
He's done.
Gunter. All right, over to you, Gunter.
All right.
What is the famous food that pandas are known for eating? They're like in the zoo chowing down on it. Motley's got it.
Why can't you give me this one?
Because that would have been racist, Vince. Do you want us to get kicked off your? No.
All right, I'm gonna sound stupid, but I want to say fish, but maybe that's not what you're looking for.
Oh, no.
Correct answer is bamboo.
Why, Gunter?
We'll bring it right back, Gunther.
I was gonna say blue whale, by the way. Tail to nose. Just how do you want
Chat's
to-
all over it.
Bamboo.
Not Bambi.
Bambi.
to
Jesus. Hey, pandas can actually be pretty violent, but I don't think they eat Bambi too often.
All right, hang around, chat, because we got more Pulse talk coming. All right, Vince,
Yes.
how many days are in a leap year?
366.
Very good. Kirk, how many weeks are there in a year?
52.
And Motley, what language is the most popular worldwide?
Ooh. English.
Really?
How do you
Vince,
define that?
Vince, you should know this. See, he's going to get into semantics here.
Just because
It's
it,
Mandarin
said-
Chinese
so you said-
population.
So you said most popular. You said most popular though, not most
these are
popular.
the questions
not
I am
most-
given.
Most
No,
spoken and popular could be two different things.
Selling this right now.
Who's running this show anyway?
Vince.
I know what happens when I argue with the host.
Yeah. Yes,
So
Cabana.
Louise, what's up? Thank you. Good job. AW, your answer is also correct.
Yes.
See, I love it when chat gets it and then like Motley gets pissed. Lights out. No, it is.
I mean,
not Spanglish.
it's Spanglish.
All right, Vince.
Yes.
Depending upon who you are, this could be tricky or easy. Kirk's gonna wish he had this one. Sonny the cuckoo bird is the mascot for what cereal? And Kirk knows.
Sonny. I want to say Fruit Loops? Fruity Loops?
Fruity Loops is not the correct answer. It is Cocoa Puffs. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I knew Kirk was going to know that. Yeah, actually had a lot of support in chat though.
Wow. Yeah.
Hexagon 720 got it.
That would be Toucan Sam for everyone.
Fruit Loops. That was an answer to a previous question.
Damn it.
Yes, I believe
All right.
that's actually what won me the. Oh, no, Snap Crackle Pop. But Toucan Sam was also part of the cereal trivia that helped me to launch my one of my gold medal wins.
Well, Kirk, for the gold medal, here we go. How many sides does home plate in baseball have?
One less than perfection, my friend.
You are correct. And how many is that?
5.
Ladies and gentlemen, this week's happy hour champion, Big Kirk.
Oh my gosh, the fact that it was not only a recall to Toucan Sam, but Cuckoo from Cocoa Puffs. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. And we got some baseball in there too, and some animals. I'm really impressed with the question selection this time. I'm going to spend my time.
Oh,
to
thanks,
really,
man.
To
Yeah,
give you a
somebody,
little homage.
somebody,
Yeah. Listen. Molly can feel however he wants, and I'll probably feel that way the next time I'm in the loser circle. But today I'm in the winner circle, so that means that I think that you've done a fantastic job with question selection. You've done a fantastic job moderating this whole entire show. So thanks, Cabana. Appreciate you having me on, man. I just love being here in the winner circle.
You are certainly welcome, and we bring back our esteemed panel.
Can you pull up my share screen real quick, host? I typed your question into Google. Can you pull up my share screen real quick, please? Oh, most popular language in the world by ranking. Number 1, English.
By ranking? What is this? Like American Idol?
Your question, Cabana. Your question. Typed into Google. Number 1 answer is English. Weird.
Let me do some Googling.
Yeah. Maybe you should do that before the trivia next time.
I'm with Cabana on this one. I'm sorry, Motley.
You can have it, Big K. It's cool. Clearly, the host is a little challenged.
Is the definition of popular also the largest? Yes, it is. It's part of it, actually. So if you count native speakers, Mandarin Chinese is the largest.
So is it native, or what if they're bilingual and it's English? It's probably actually more.
So bitter.
Native was not in your question.
So bitter. I didn't say native. I just said largest or popular.
You said
or
most popular.
I did say most
you
popular,
you
but
might wanna
popular does mean
proof
largest
check this.
too. Is it not a synonym? Wales is just like rolling over here.
I'm just saying the host needs to do a little bit more research next
I
time.
did research. These
Congratulations. Congratulations. You got a little alley-oop.
I appreciate it. Yeah, there we go. I'll take it. Listen,
All right.
feels
Gunter-
a little tainted with all the argument, but you know, it's a win's a win.
The controversy is real.
Freddie just walked back in. Is like, what the hell's going on?
This is the post trivia breakdown, Freddie. It usually happens every time.
It's the post press conference with Motley stewing about a
fucking
loss.
Conor McGregor just throwing monsters right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal your hat off your head, man.
Oh
Fucking-
shit! Yeah, Floyd made. Oh my god.
All right. Hey,
Oh, man, this is great,
hey, Gunter.
man.
Sorry you had to witness this. Let's get back to.
Oh, this is good time. This is adding value. I like it.
All right.
Quality.
Just avoid
Yeah.
the old dad jokes though, because that's where we start losing numbers.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we save it for the end. So, yeah. At least the audience can participate and actually be smarter than us for some of these easy trivia questions, even though Motley will dispute no matter what. So, and even though some of the chat got it as well, actually a lot of the chat, but we'll leave it there.
I just dispute when I'm right. That's all. I bow out gracefully when I actually get it wrong.
All right. Well, speaking of being right, Motley, what will the price of HEX be at? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put you that on the
throw
spot.
a random number out there.
Let's talk some price, because I mean we've been at this for a couple hours, but let's get into some fun stuff here before we wrap. And I mean there are a couple big questions. I think which one do we want to tackle first? We want to do, I guess, coins on Pulse, not named HEX, or we want to talk a little price? What are we feeling?
Everyone loves the moon talk
probably-
for the end.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll save
probably
price for the
non-pulse.
end, and let's talk some coins. So
Yep.
Blue Bum asked in the chat, and he also discussed on his stream, I believe it was last Saturday, the where to go. I had the notes written. Well, it's not there anymore. But what coins do you think will find value on Pulse Chain?
None,
And-
don't buy any.
What, bro?
I said none, don't buy any.
Okay,
Waste time.
just HEX.
Yeah, just-
That's the easy answer.
You got the emoji glasses. It's almost like they floated in on your face and just sat right there because they have the reflection and everything.
perfect.
But anyway, all right. So don't buy any coins. Well, we settled that. Motley's not telling. Vince,
Not telling. Especially now since Cabana cheated on trivia.
all right. All right. How's this for your question, Motley? Since you don't want to drop names, I don't want you to say anything like that. But what's your list like? Is it less than 10 coins?
It's very small.
Okay.
It's very small. I think there's only a few that have the tokenomics to work without having a centralized entity to come over and adopt it, essentially bringing on their platform or apps. So there's only a few coins that actually have the tokenomics to be viable on Pulse Chain without adoption. So that would, if I was to make that play, not even saying that I would pursue those tokens. But then even again, and I've spoken on this before, it's just like if there's a gold rush, I'm going to sell you all the equipment for you to go speculate, and I'll just take the Pulse and the Pulse HEX, what I know is going to succeed. So I'll own the convenience store. I'll sell you the supplies. You guys can go out there and speculate in the mountains, and hopefully you strike it rich. But 9 times out of 10, you're not. So, but the tokenomics, it's got to work without adoption. Would be my speculation.
Yeah, and what makes the most sense? And hey, we're back over 3 cents, by the way. Cabana pump,
Nice.
happy hour pump.
Sweet.
It makes sense, and I mean the what was said on the Aussie chat makes sense. I know we're getting chat's asking about what did the Aussies like. So the point was, I'll just introduce the point that was made is like, okay, well, are there other coins like HEX that are in the same situation that have gotten screwed that would benefit from a Pulse? So if you have that in
There's-
mind and you take a look, maybe that's an avenue of discovery. I don't know.
Well, here's what I'll give everyone for like the future of Pulse, because like just to derail the conversation away from all these things that we don't exactly want to like. Again, I'll answer questions on specific tokens if they get asked to me, but I'm not bringing anything up myself. But I will say some things about the future of Pulse and the future of all these projects out there. They really fall into a few different categories. I give them 3 right now. You could probably divide them up further. But there's what Motley spoke about. There are coins that work just as intended without even any that's saying too much. There's coins that are existing out there.
I think Big K and I have similar tokens on our radar
that exist out there that will exist tomorrow and work just fine with the front ends or the back ends or however they are. They work just fine. They don't need any, like you said, they don't need any adoption. They don't need anybody from the original team to show up and do anything for anybody. And they will work. There are smart contracts that will work like that. For instance, Uniswap. Uniswap will exist and work on day one as long as somebody builds a front end that will talk to the Pulse HEX version of it. So that's great. So that's one category of tokens that are out there. The ones that will exist on day one and work to right then and there. I mean, sidebar, those might be worth the most on day one. Secondly, there's also the second category of coins that are out there that are coins that might have light admin access that aren't necessarily entirely crucial for the performance of the coin, and or they require less. They have a front. They only require someone to build them a front end for them to be accessible on the platform. Those are another whole class of tokens that can exist on Pulse that work right now. And then there's a third group that could exist on Pulse token that are the ones that you have to convince the communities that it's better for them to be over here, or not even better, but there's some value for them over here. And so we could even catch them over time, say, hey guys, listen, there's some actual value. Listen, you get 5% or 7% extra of your stack right now because you have these tokens sitting there. Why don't you come and interact with our platform? I mean, MetaMask is a drop down that can make you interact with Matic or BSC or what the fuck ever, and Pulse will be on there too. And then why not your front end? Why not your front end? Your front end sucks right now because your blockchain video game or whatever the fuck it is costs $10 a transaction, and nobody wants to play your stupid shit because of that. Well, over here it works now. For pennies,
heavy transactional based games, and so that's going to be kind of it's going to be a little.
But
bit
that's layered. That's
right. Casino stuff is going to probably come over because you need something if it's high transaction based.
I mean, the casino stuff was on
casino games.
The most degenerative shit was on our shit first. Like the degen tokens, the shrimpies and the whatever and shit, all that shit that ended up coming out and in mass production wave versions on all these other tokens was on us first, And so do you expect that a trustless platform like that would be any different, So I don't really expect that we wouldn't have any scams on there. That'll come along too, But the platforms that I really honestly, that's funny about all those categories. The one that I'm the most interested in for Pulse's future is the people that have to choose to interact with us and interact with Pulse, but can find immense value in it. Because again, if I hearken myself back to the fork days of when Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash forked, there was a lot of exchanges that weren't just so cool with the idea of spending developer time and money to give you free money. They didn't even want to give up your Bitcoin Cash. If it wasn't for a lot of community outcry, as well as possibly some legal footing that they might be in trouble on later in the future, they might not have given up. A lot of exchanges might not have given up your Bitcoin Cash, And so in the same token, or no pun intended, there's a whole marketplace of all these different tokens that are, like they're dead in the water right now, spending $10 on ETH fees. They don't work. They're the most likely to accept this with open arms. Because they don't have to do any extra work to have their shit working that they spent probably a lot of time on now. Right here, enjoy. And those are the ones that like excite me because they're easy converts and they could bring a fuck ton of value to the system. Those so that's my like, it's a long-term thing that I really bring up mostly. That's what I think that like in the future, that's some of what our Pulsican outreach should be, is I don't know, whatever.
Like
it
that.
should be to those projects that work the best, that could find the most value in this kind of system that need it, those that need it,
Yeah.
And Blue Bum brings up a good point. Start off by researching the coins that Richard or Pulse is accepting for sacrifice.
Yeah. He might want to only take the coins that might only interact on a new system that he that the sacrifice address gets a copy of them for. I mean that part I hope that everyone can understand that is definitely a concern. Like a clear.
The official list is not.
There's no such thing.
Right.
Do you want to pull the one that's got pinned up real quick, Cabana, just so they can see it?
Yeah, can you send that to me? Because I actually deleted the one.
I'll send. Give me 1 second. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. But Hexagon is 720 is right. It's going to be a fluid situation. It's a play on words, Vince. Did you get that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
If there's anybody here that got it, it's Vince. That's damn true. Yeah, I mean it's exciting. I mean that's like I said, this has never been happen. This is never like nothing like this has happened before. I mean I've seen and been a part of many a fork, and this is a lot of. There's not just like one piece of uncharted territory. There's multiple things that you can think about and pontificate on and consider, and probably many places to do well and not do well either. That's the other thing too. Is like there is an element of danger involved with opening up the Pandora's box of your own brand new blockchain and doing this really cool thing that we're doing with launching fully with everything on it. That's like I said, there's risk and reward.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gunther? Do you have any feelings the other way on the other coins? You just like, bro, I'm sticking with Hex. What are your thoughts on the coins on Pulse?
That's a good question. Initially, I was thinking just like Hex and Pulse, but I might approach this from a mathematical point of view.
Of course you would.
And just cast like a wide net. Like maybe I'll take X number of dollars. Maybe I'll take X number of dollars and just divide it equally across every coin that's available on the Pulse network, and then just cast a wide net and see what happens. Just a random distribution.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no better time to do that than right at the very beginning of such a project. I should say project. Yeah. I got your screen, Motley. Let me pull that up there. And I'll zoom in and move over.
I think I just took a screenshot. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we get the idea, though.
Yeah, these are mostly fresh coins that are out now, that are like doing well now. And like a few of them that have, mostly good communities. A few of them that like, I couldn't give a shit less if they're on there or not,
I find it so strange that Doge is on there.
What he said,
Doge is
hot right now.
What he meant to say is, you guys are welcome to come over and play.
Yeah. You're right. I like all this stuff. Everybody in any of these communities, y'all are my buddies. Let's go chill.
Let's get rich together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's Dustin said it's a great point because I thought of this too. He's like, I don't understand how the sacrifice chamber can start in 7 days when we have no information on how it will work. So
he's got a stream beforehand.
I was gonna say, is 7 is all right. I'll put this out there just as a funny point, but is 7 days like the new 4 weeks?
It's gotta be.
Could be.
It's gone.
It could be.
Well, we will find
Um,
out, gentlemen. We'll find out next
in
Friday.
6 days.
Next Friday?
Well, he said that shit a day ago. So if by Friday, if at the happy hour next week, we're all on stream like this trying to fucking buy coins, then I think we know their answer, you know. But if if we're all like, look at that, it's another week, then then let's all take a breath, But I wouldn't put it by. Like I said, again, I feel like in general, I would rather not know anything about it and have it be all these other fucking projects that launch with like garbage ass shit in the beginning, and you're like, what is even going on here? And now they're worth fuck tons of money. I mean, this is a similar situation, man. We just have the pre knowledge to know that like this dude knows what he's doing. We probably he understands blockchains enough to make this right later on. If we're getting the element of surprise, enjoy the element of surprise. That is.
No.
So we're probably definitely getting a stream regardless. Probably about Tuesday or Wednesday of Richard. So that's nice. That's a plus. And it's either going to be, hey, Sacrifice Chambers coming in a couple days, or one more week. It's one of the
It's gonna
two.
be some of the two. Yeah, exactly. It's
7
coming out.
days.
Yeah, 7 days.
I believe that's a week, right, Cabana?
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying like the 7 days.
Yeah.
Depends on if we're playing easy trivia or not.
I know.
Hey.
That's what I was jabbing it for.
Hey, after you guys show me this list, I'm changing my answer. Like none of it sounds appealing. I literally am just going Hex and Pulse. Fuck it.
It makes you a little nauseous, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it actually makes me sick to my stomach. I don't like any of these.
It's important to note that also this isn't a finalized list. It's gonna be,
Well, you have to understand that, like, all right, there's very few on this list. I mean, I got not very few, but like a lot of it is other tokens that aren't necessarily even on Ethereum. Like,
they're not even
Ethereum.
ERC20s.
Zcash isn't on Ethereum. Bitcoin Cash, ADA, DOT, Solana. Basically, everything on the bottom of that list, is not on Ethereum. There's a chunk that is in the middle from like, most of the top of the list. The first half is on Ethereum, and the second half is not. So, you're not going to buy any. You're not going to buy any BTC or any Solana or any of that shit on Pulse. Like a Pulse version. So, like, you can get a lot of that shit out of your heads. Like the shit that you can buy on Pulse would be wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ethereum, USDC, Unity, Hex, Link, DAI, USDT, and that's it. Aave, Maker. That's it. Everything else is not on. None of the rest of that's on Ethereum. So, you won't get it. Like none of that shit will be on there. So. It's a mix, it's half and half. And of those projects, which of those projects, have no admin keys? Correct. I mean, I can make the Jeopardy sound, but not much.
Yeah.
I mean, not much.
Yeah, Freddie brings up a good point. Price pumped on a week, heads up. Imagine if we got like a day. Hey guys,
if I get day one Hex with Pulse Hex, oh my god, I'm gonna give a significant portion of my Pulse Whale status up for that, 100%.
What, to get Pulse Hex?
Yeah. If we get any sort of starting price like we did with Hex, like, yeah, I'm giving up a lot of Pulse for it.
It's probably the best play, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the most popular and largest play, Motley.
And you know what happens once everyone buys all that up? It's going to be staked. Yeah, I know. I get what you're hinting at.
Okay.
It's a race. It's a race.
How much are you willing to spend on transaction fees to make sure your first transaction?
Oh boy.
All right.
Hey,
let's not give all. No, just kidding. Yeah, you guys aren't stupid. Increase the slippage, pay the fast fees, and see who gets there first.
All right,
it's gonna be interesting.
I've been holding this question because I saw you asked it the first time. Do Hawks, Dustin? Let's guess how much money goes into Sacrifice day one, because we are in speculation station now. How much to be a top 50 holder of Pulse?
That depends on the first question. Depends directly on how long the pre-ramp
How it
phase
works.
happens.
We don't even know.
So like
we don't even
if the
know.
pre-ramp, if the pre-ramp phase,
Let's go with
happened-
like 5 to 7 days is
Okay.
like your
5
initial
days.
window. Let's
5 to
use
7.
that for like our point of discussion.
because like really, I feel like day one is that whole period. Honestly, I feel like that's period because like there's gonna be no price fluctuation. So like I guess there is day one and then that whole period. But I think that that's really like one combined because kind of it should be looked at very similarly.
Yeah, I consider the whole period. Well, you're right. Okay, so yeah, let's just shoot.
You don't have enough information to answer that question right now. You just
No.
you can't. You could throw a random number out of your ass, but you just don't have enough
All right, but
information.
what if
Well,
it was-
I mean, you can
if it
look at
was
what
one
happened in
day-
the past.
Yeah.
How many ETH were put into
I've spoken.
the adoption amplifier on day one?
Speculate away.
21,000 Ethereum at about $100 in Ethereum.
You know,
Now he wants to pick a specific number. Couldn't even get you to say one earlier.
I know. I'm trying, man. It takes me a little bit. I've worked through half of this bottle of wine. I'm starting to
There
let the
you go.
numbers fly. Let's let it. But I'm just saying the 21,000 Ethereum went in the adoption amplifier on day one, and that was a year-long, launch. And that was at
and
about
Richard put in
$100
double the hex to try to compensate for that.
to try and compromise. So like
Yeah.
21,000 Ethereum is, at that point in time was like $2 million.
Yeah.
$2.5 million or something like that on day one. It was so like maybe I think maybe at the time it was like 120 in Ethereum or 100. It was a little over 100. So I think it was like $4 million total that went in on day one. I mean, 2 million on day one at Hex. There we go. 2 million.
Mhm.
So like, okay, 2 million on a 365 day launch, but you also have to take into the fact that like everybody that put in that 2 million is up like 10 or 20 or 30x too. So like they all got fatter stacks than they had the first time around.
Yeah.
That's for damn fucking sure. I mean, so like that has to be taken into account. Fuck, even people who are on the sidelines, that were Ethereum people that are just sitting with big stacks of Ethereum have 20x the amount of money to put into it as they had before. People who bought Dogecoin have 20x the money that they, people who just sat on their real estate have 2x the money that they had before, so everybody has more money now, whatever that means, so it's like, I could see 10 million going in day one.
USD.
USD.
And you brought up a great point about the economic mass or energy that's available right now, because it was a totally different situation when Hex was when Hex came to market, and now, I mean, granted, Hex is, I'm just talking Hex here, as if every other coin is awesome, or for price gains, appreciation. They're all most in the same boat, but Hex is up immensely. So you have a core community with this already set amount of economic mass and energy. Granted, most are staked out or whatever, but if you're sitting on these altcoin gains, and you've been listening to Motley and myself and others on here and other streams, and you convert that, those altcoins to Hex, to sacrifice, and kind of, do the whole, Hex family of pumpage, it's a different dynamic. And we haven't even taken into consideration future possible, again, this is all speculation, but future possible price appreciation. I mean, we're at over 3 cents right now. What if the sacrifice phase starts in a week or 2 or 3, and we're double where we are now, or maybe more? I mean, according to Motley, it could be triple by tomorrow night. But I'm just saying, but I say that kind of jokingly, but it's possible. I mean, we have a huge 270 million seller out of the way, and price has gone up while that guy was selling, and our Genesis whale was buying.
There was other whales just scooping up his dump.
There's so much at play here, and we can't, it's all fun speculation we're crazy about talking about, but that's kind of the point of the show too, is to have fun and put possibilities out there. to not be like, oh, we told you, but man, have this on your radar, because it's kind of like the whole idea generation of Richard's Pulse Telegram group. Is somebody on here or somebody in the chat could say something that might stir something in your brain and be like, oh man, well that I didn't think about that. Okay, guys, well, what if we do this? Or what about this possibility of price versus this time? So it's whoa.
If the whales are willing to scoop up millions and millions of hex, to defend that price, you don't think they're willing to boost that price as well? And they have hundreds and hundreds of Ethereum, thousands of Ethereum in certain wallets that are just ready to go.
Oh my gosh, and you've seen those wallets too that's buying hex. The Ethereum amounts.
Oh, let's do a thought experiment, with somebody that's like the Genesis whale that did this already. They took 10,000 Ethereum and bought hex. I think it was actually like 20,000 over like the course of all their shit. They bought that, what was it, like 2.4 billion hex or something like that. We remember we watched the stake, and they had bought a bunch more too. I mean, they have so much more and they have a lot of liquid hex too. Remember, they unstaked and they staked a lot of it, but they have some that's a whole shit ton that's liquid too. They have immense amounts more of economic weight that they can put in than they put in the first time. Like 10,000 Ethereum at even $200 in Ethereum wasn't nearly what that hex is actually worth right now. Like even part because a lot of it they have staked out for 10 and 15 years, but like even the what is it, $250 million or something like that they have, or $750 million that they have like liquid, that's way more than they put in. So them alone, just on the flippant off, no pain sacrifice, no pain to them really, they can put in 5 to 10x what they put in the first time. Not saying they're going to, but they can. And if they are the people that we think they are, or that they've been speculated about, they invest in many of these actual blockchain like communities and systems, So why wouldn't they be even more interested in the actual fork blockchain that's coming out than the first just smart contract that was coming out?
Agreed. Dustin, can't wait to see the hex leagues on Staker app after the sacrifices. Yeah, I mean, that's just another thing to keep an eye on, because there's so much at play. And I also agree with this point. I think everyone's going to be shocked to see how much money gets thrown into Pulse, because what we've been talking about is that economic mass that exists now that didn't really before with hex.
There's people that are watching this now that like scoffed this shit off before. I mean, I know of people that are watching this now that laughed it off before, that have way more money than I could. I mean, I have a lot. Like there are players out there that play these games, and like, I mean, I just saw a primer from some cat that was like from like someone that is normally wouldn't be looking at cryptocurrency investments, but through their means and ends, their investment people are saying, hey, here's a quick primer, a PDF on the shit that is coming down the pipeline. Like, this is a reality here, man, for a lot of not just us but other people. And there are rich ass motherfuckers that would love to get into this, that see the games that are like, oh, I'd like to play that game too. We've attracted attention, that's for damn sure. I mean, so like, I wouldn't be surprised if Richards. That's why, I mean, if he pushes off the increase in price based on dollars a little bit, it would be, I think, good, because I do believe that I truly believe that when he put $100 million would increase the price 59x. I think that he said that like, yeah, sure, that's maybe possible, but I think that we could get close to that. And if we could get close to that, then I don't know. I'm glad he pushed that off, because like, personally, tokenomics, metrics wise, ramping up the resale, the initial sale, the ICO, or the initial let go price of your good at a 3x modifier in time and a potentially 60x modifier on monetary input would be 180x multiplier, and that's too much over 30 days. It's too much. It's like it starts to fly against his principle of like, if you're a minute earlier, you shouldn't get 1,000x more. It's coming close to it. So I think that should be I hope that is a little bit smaller. And it's like coming from somebody who's not a whale, but understands that we want to attract those people too. And I think that like insane, like forced volatility seems like, yeah, that's super cool. Look at this curve, but like it might be a little bit extreme. So like if that gets pushed out a little bit, I'm kind of cool with that. That's just sidebar.
Yeah. Tangent.
Yeah, I do those.
Right. Hexagon 720, I would imagine the ETH whale that's buying today with 100,000 ETH in their wallet is going to speculate on Pulse. I don't see why not, but maybe he's speculating on Pulse through Hex. I don't know. Just, more food.
Well, there's so many ways to do it. Man.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like pumping his own bags on a bigger scale than many can. Yeah. So now, Gunter, what is your, I guess, update schedule for, or do you have one for your spreadsheet? Like, how closely are you watching this? And I think I touched on it earlier asking, but, I'll just ask it again because we're kind of talking about daily swings or potential price appreciation and Hex flipping from one account to another. Is it something that you're actively watching like every single day, multiple times a day, or are you putting anything in Telegram chats? Be like, whoa, man, I just saw like this account, this OA address, but that I think it is an OA address, just took on this amount of dumpage. How are you approaching that?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, the people in Hex trading, they're so fast with releasing information on sellers. Mm-hmm. They're much faster than I am because you got Hex Winbot and you got all these other things.
Yep.
Plus they're tracking it, so they're just a lot quicker than I am.
If you guys aren't following it, follow Hex Whalebot for sure.
yeah, for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Let me say something right now. Hex Whalebot or whoever your dad is, have him fix you, take you to the shop, whatever. We need to fix this V3 stuff. So I'm seeing, and I know many other Hexicans are annoyed with this, like $100 trades in Hex coming across Whalebot. Fix yourself, man. Like, get the crap out of there. Because it's got the V3 trades on it, but it hasn't increased the threshold yet. So the feed is being spammed by all these low amount V3 trades on Uniswap. That's my gripe. Continue, Gunter. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Actually, I was actually talking about Hex Winbot, not Whalebot.
Oh yeah.
On Telegram, because then you could see all the sellers, right? Or the. But,
that's what I'm talking about. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I misspoke. But the Telegram bot, yes.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like going into this, like I guess your question's more tailored towards the sacrificial period. Is that what you're primarily asking?
Yeah, just kind of like the monitoring of that, because I think it's going to be, even leading up to it.
Yeah. I mean, I check daily. I probably spend too much time with it, to be honest. I need new hobbies, but yeah, I'll be checking daily a few times. And I'll try to create like a system where I can start to keep track of how much people are actually sacrificing. And I guess I probably would be looking at, I'm assuming, like transfers, because wouldn't you be transferring to another address if you're
probably set up? Once Richard releases the address, that will be like the sacrifice. It's so crazy because I wonder if there's a couple different ways he could do it. Like you could have it be a set address that everyone sacrifices to that address, and it tracks your Ethereum address. But what about other coins that you want to put in?
It'll be multiple addresses.
Yes, exactly. So then there'll be all multiple addresses that will track all your different sacrifices, but then you're going to have to put in, like, if you're putting in Solana or Doge or Bitcoin or something that's not on Ethereum, you're going to have to tell the system somehow what address you want, just like you did when you signed your Bitcoin signature. You have to tell it, hey, I want to put it in this Ethereum address, or this whatever, like that's part of it. So like, that's going to have to be a feature as well somewhere along the way, which is interesting because, like, I don't know if every single blockchain he's are going to be a part, are going to be accessible, are going to all have wallets that have signing features all built in automatically, like that's, and if that's needed, or if there's going to be some sort of, way to generate an address for yourself, using your Ethereum address. There's a lot of, like I said, there's kind of like, they don't really matter. So like, I kind of speculate on those things, but like, I don't give a shit how he does it,
Wouldn't most people in the HEX community be sacrificing HEX though? Wouldn't they sell it first for HEX?
Most people will be
ideally
doing HEX. So like, in a perfect world, they would be doing that. But there's going to be a lot of people that put in other stuff too, So like, I think the Ethereum ones are anything that's on Ethereum is super easy, because like you're going to be able to credit the account that gave you the coins. It's be the same public key, same private keys, and everything on the new system. But the stuff that's off chain, that all I'm like kind of more interested in all of that, because like I'm impressed to see how that came along and how easily that is, and if he has to use some sort of centralized system to do that, or how he's going to do that, because like that like, again, I don't really care, because I do believe that whatever I send will get credited properly, but that's something to think about. That's just another little. There's an interesting layer when he was like, "I'm taking all these coins in." I was like, "Damn, that seems like a little bit of work, bro."
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. Every unique blockchain will have its own unique deposit address. So,
All right. Well, we got Hexo coming up here in a little bit, so let's start to put a bow on it. So, I think one of the more popular questions, and again, speculation, because it's fun, but I guess once we start, say we can put a timeline on this, not a timeline, but a day. A mystical day that we don't know, but day one, whenever it is, of the Motley sacrifice chamber trademark, whenever day one is, could be 7 days from now, it could be 14, 21, whatever, next month, day one, what do we think? And we'll go around the room. I guess we'll start with Kurk, but what do we think the HEX price can get to? How does that react in anticipation of that? And again, fun speculation, no pure science behind it, but kind of like game theory and just pure fun speculation. Where can the price go?
Well, the magnet right now, the Schelling point right now, we've beat the two, like Johnny Chaos is like, as fast as 2 cents comes, here comes 3 cents. He was dead on with that shit. The Schelling point's 10 cents now, right? Am I right? So
I think that's like, your next rung of the ladder, right?
And nickel is solid. And like, I liked, there's what's his face, Llama Markets, I think, on Twitter. He's like a trader cat that like likes HEX kind of peripherally. He's not like he's in the community because we respond to a lot of his shit, but he's not directly a Hexican.
Yeah, he's like an honorary Hexican.
Yes. I like what he has to say. He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
At 5 cents, there will be pullback, because a lot of Hexicans have never seen that kind of fucking money in their hands. So expect a little pullback at 5 cents, but that's not the reality of where we're going. I think 10 cents is more likely by the time. That
so what's your number? Big
Here we go again.
10 cents. 10 cents. Like I said, well, like, all right. So like I said, everyone's Schelling point is 10 cents, but I don't think we hit all the way there. I think we come close.
Do you want to hear my number? It coincides with yours. 8 cents. 8 cents. There you go.
All right, there you go. So I was going to be in like the midnight. Like, we're all going to try and get to 10 cents, but it's going to be in the early 9 to 10, mid 9 range. And that's what I was going to say. Because like, we want the Schelling point of 10 cents, but you rarely get exactly what you want when you want it. We will go there, but it won't be right when we want it. It'll be like in a more painful time when you are like when you're like, oh, when should I sacrifice this? Oh, but it's worth more now. Damn it. Like, that's the time when you're gonna hit 10 cents. So like, during the sacrifice phase, I think we will hit 10 cents, but I think beforehand we'll come close.
My answer is 8 cents. See, quick.
That's so fun. Where's
So
the fun in that?
That's after we hit.
Is that my
the dime
actual price
tomorrow.
point that I think we're gonna do, or is it just a number I want to throw out there? But I'm gonna say 8 cents.
Kind of like we settle at on day one.
Like I said, I think
Because I mean, we're going to see some serious wicks like we have today, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the question is like how many sellers are there? Like I said, I've talked to many of people who like when we were at a penny, thought selling at 2.5 cents some of their HEX was a good idea, and like everything's happened so fast that they're like, we're at 3 cents now, and they're like, no, I'm good. Like I talked to them, I talked to Cats this morning that when we hit 3.5 cents, and they're like, nah, I'm still good. Like now it's a game of I am more than willing to wait everyone else out on this. I don't have to sell. Why did any of us have to sell? We have no reason to sell right now. We've got only reasons to buy, So
Cabana, Maddie's got a number for you. That's $10, by the way.
$10? Yeah, sure.
End of year, though. End of year.
I know.
End of year? Yeah, you see, that sounds
That's
good.
that's the whale's target.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's strange to like hexologists $2.01 more and more every day, but I do.
Or Orbit's $7.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Richard, said 100x or whatever it was.
Yeah,
that would take us,
That's true.
to 2
Yeah.
at the time of that tweet, I believe. So,
Yeah.
what do you think, Vince? Just fun speculation before we close it out.
I'll go just smack in the middle of 5 and 10 and say 7.5 cents.
7.5.
Yeah.
Look at all this Moon Boys.
Vince, you
This is
might
great.
as well have just done 7.9 and just undercut me.
8.1.
Undercut you by 1/10 of a cent.
Yeah.
Gunter's got the most educated guess here because he's just been staring into the hex matrix, and it has told him the answer. What is that answer, Gunter?
No crystal ball, not financial, not financial advice.
Hey,
Of course.
Gunter's a moon boy, so watch out.
Watch out.
Watch
All
out.
right. It's not financial advice. It's a motherfucking financial commandment.
I like it.
Damn. Holy shit. You're not messing around.
I say on day one,
Oh man,
39 cents.
let's go.
Holy shit.
At the end of the sacrifice period, somewhere between $1 and $3.
Oh, I love
What?
And at the
you
end
guys
of
thought Dollar Cross was the freaking moon boy.
and at the end of the year, $30 hex at the end of the
Woo,
year.
there it is.
Wow.
That's the number.
All right, so he is sticking with Richard's original random line. So I think that exceeds that actually by quite
yeah, I
a
was about
bit.
to say, I thought the
14. I
random
think
line was like-
Richards was 14 is where
and
it
then went
ended.
to
Yeah.
9. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. We got to have you on more often.
I will
Gunter
happily
the
accept
Antidote.
defeat on that one. I'll be happy to be wrong on that one for sure.
Yeah.
are you talking about Big Kirk, David?
He's smoking.
The good stuff.
He's talking about Big Kirk.
I thought.
I'm kidding.
It's a Gak Pack live rosin is what we're into
Oops.
tonight. It's fantastic. Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you for that update. All right. Looks like Hexo's coming on, so we'll throw it over to him and close out. Of course, at the highest viewership, you guys rock.
Awesome.
This is awesome. So it's like
Smash
a new
the
high
likes,
for
guys.
us. Yeah.
We're
Thank you
short on
guys
like-
for
Oh no, never run. Updated.
for watching. Let's go around the room and before we throw it over to Hexo, Big Kirk, where can everybody find you?
Oh, you can find me Big Kurkowski on Twitter, Big Kurkowski on Telegram. When Pulse Chain goes live, we'll do Bingo Earth again. When Pulse Chain
Nice.
goes live,
Oh yeah.
See, I have not done
That's
one
awesome.
yet. So I
Oh
wanna
well,
do
when we
It's
do,
fun.
when it goes live, we'll do it. We'll probably do it. I mean, we might as well do it for Pulse because like half of the fun of it is that like I have some cats that I know that like won what was a $20 or $50 winnings at the time that have now like thousands of dollars.
So let's see. I won 20,000 hex. So what are we?
yeah. I think our first wins
Yeah.
we were giving away was 50,000 hex, and then we went down to 20,000. And then, so yeah, it's I mean, we'll do Pulse because we'll be able to give it away freely again. Probably But yeah, anyways, I'm excited for that because the ETH fees really fucked us over. So we'll be able to do it again, and everyone can participate. So yeah, you can find me at Big Kurkowski all over the place.
Bingo Kurkowski.
Yeah, Bingo Kurkowski.
Bingo.
Bingo.earth will be is the nonprofit that we'll be running again.
I was
Doing
messing
some
with
fun bingo once we're in Pulse Land.
I like Ross trolling right now. Who's this Hex?
Who's
guy?
the hexologist? Stylus had an answer. He's the newest streamer. So, Motley, where can we find you, man?
Motley Investor everywhere: YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and in the Telegrams.
And what show on Thursday nights?
Thursday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, Nights of the Crypto Table, and then shout out to it'll probably be on either Wasabi or Look Into Crypto's channel or Crypto Coffee's channel, and then shout out to Wales Only, Maddie. I know Wales Only reached out to me. They're doing some show potentially on Sunday, so look forward to that. I'm sure more details coming out. Hopefully that's okay for me to release that information, but yeah, look forward to that.
Yeah, I saw that. I have it on mute, but I haven't looked at the details. But yeah, that sounds like fruitful stuff there.
Should be a good one.
Vince, where can we find you?
Yep. Crypto Vince 369 on Twitter and Telegram. And yeah, please check out the Hex Asian show that I co-host on Sunday and Monday mornings, 6 a.m. Pacific.
We had a few in stream there, which was cool. We had, they're probably still watching, so that's awesome. So, and Gunter the Accountant, where can we find you? Well, obviously the Telegram trading chat, but
just
also
look up at the moon.
Yeah.
He's up there.
Oh boy! At the
I'm
same
on
the
time,
moon.
I'm already heading to like Saturn. Like that.
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome.
Warning.
Yeah, shout out to Crypto Watchman shouting us out right now. Have a spare pair of FOMO pants on hand before watching this. Some gold nuggets in here. That is props to this entire panel, including the guy that we're talking to right now, Gunter. So if you want to look at like the first hour, man, he goes through the whole, OA hex addresses, 3,000 plus audit, man. And talking about that right now, is there an easy place to find that? Or I know you constantly update it. So yeah, just, tell us where we can find you and maybe others that want to, take a look at all the awesome work that you've done.
Yeah. So you could only find me in Telegram. I'm not on anything else. I like to fly underneath the radar.
As he's on stream.
That's good. That's good.
Sort of underneath the radar.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, no worries. But yeah, I post this updated copy of the spreadsheet quite frequently, and I usually try to hit like the major like channels. So like I'll post it in the main chat, Hex Trading, Hex Bear, Hex Pro.
Okay, so if you're in those chats, you should.
Yeah, if you search Imaginary Chaos in there, and you can find his
You'll
screen
find
name, and then you can find the spreadsheets pretty easily.
Yep.
There you go. The screen name right down there, Imaginary Chaos with the underscore.
I think it has an underscore.
I can't find him.
Careful who you're messaging out there.
Well, it is imaginary, so like, does it actually exist?
I'd go pick up the other one if I were you quick. Otherwise, some fucking spam or scammer is going to pick it up on the fly real quick.
Right. Oh, man.
Stealing my identity.
Hopefully.
All right, gents. Well, thanks again for
Look at that chart.
partaking in this.
Wow.
We are set up for a nice little weekend run,
Oh, let's go.
especially a triple to get the Motley's dime target by tomorrow night.
Hey, I might have clickbaited you a little bit. I don't know.
I think it was like 2 a.m. and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was a little bit of just pure elation and just being delirious at that point. So
Yeah, that was.
bear with me.
Oh my gosh. It's, FOMO pants. It was all caps.
When I read that, it was me hearing that T-share price. I was like,
What's going on?
That might turn into an out of context hex moment with the Motley face too. So
Maybe.
we'll have to see that. Perhaps someone will forward that to him. Freddie quotes. Anyway,
Someone.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, stream. Thank you, panel. This is awesome. Best chat we've had. Like so many good questions and comments. I think it's most I've ever put on screen. So it's been awesome. And yeah, we're going to see you next week. same Hex time, same Hex channel. Hexologist is on right now. Go over and check him out. Whoa.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Later, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Later, gentlemen.
See you guys.